It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Jeff Jarvis is here. Aunt Pruitt is here. Stacey Higginbotham is back. Lots to talk about, including the new Google Nest Hub that tracks your sleep using radar. We'll take a tour of a bowling alley on a drone that's got Hollywood sitting up and taking notice. And then how the sperm whales fought off the whaling vessels in the 19th century. Yes, that's coming up too. It's all next on Twig.
Podcasts you love
from people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twig. This week at Google, episode 603, recorded Wednesday, March 17th, 2021. Sleeping with a Mime. This week in Google is brought to you by Nureva. Getting your audio ready for meetings back in the office, Nureva Audio is designed for distancing. It automatically adapts to new room configurations, so you're ready for the new normal and whatever comes next. Learn more at nureva.com/twit. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show where we get together and just talk about whatever the hell's on our minds. It's so wonderful to have Stacey Higginbotham back from StaceyOnIoT.com. Oh, she is not named Matthew Ingram. We'll fix that in post.
Oh,
we'll fix that in post. I
like Matthew.
Yeah, I love him. I thought for a minute maybe you got a new job, but no. She's at StaceyOnIoT.com. Does a great IoT podcast with Kevin Toffel, and of course, her newsletters are fantastic. There she is. Hi, Stace. Looks pretty sunny and bright up there in the Pacific Northwest.
It is. It's going to be very sad to stay on as long. I'm like, it's such a nice day.
All right. We'll make this a really short show just for you. We'll get it over with.
It's daylight savings time is like my friend. It's on my side now.
Yeah, the light is back. Also, Mr. Jeff Jarvis. Wait a minute.
Hey.
The Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Hello, Jeff.
Hello. Good
Have you had both shots?
Good to see you back, Stacey. You deserted us.
We miss Stacey. Yes. Have you had both shots, Jeff, or just the first?
Yes, I have.
Okay. I just got my first today.
I had no reaction the day after my first shot, and people might think I'm nuts at this. I had a 13-day delayed reaction. My arm was not sore. It was sore 13 days later.
Wow.
Fever.
I kind of want a reaction because I feel like if
you do because you want to know it works.
Yeah, if I'm not having, maybe they gave me the placebo. Maybe there was some leftover placebo. Also with it, no, I want a reaction because that means my immune system is saying,
exactly,
hey, fight this guy off. Aunt Pruitt is also here, hands-on photography. Lots of praise for your most recent episode with the lens rental guy,
Mr. Sakala,
John Sakala. Yeah, Roger. Aye,
I don't
sir.
mean the affirmative.
Aye, Captain.
Roger.
Roger is his name. I knew that. Anyway, it's good to have you. Twit.tv/hands-on photography. I don't know what to start with today. What do you think,
How about
Jeff?
Google?
Should we? Well, that. Yeah.
Jinx, Aunt.
There's a whole section here all about Google, but it's all boring.
Pretty much is.
Hold on.
They announced a new Nest Hub that will watch you sleeping.
I'm very curious what you'll think of that. I have many thoughts. I did briefings on it, and I'll get a review unit when the time comes. But
so you're the right person to ask.
I saw you tweeted out to the community about this, and my response, as well as a bunch of other folks, was, isn't this already happening, whether it's through Fitbit or just the other devices that are out there?
That's why I didn't order one. You can order it March 25th. The nice thing about this little Nest Hub, by the way, there's one right next to me when I'm sleeping, is it doesn't have a camera, but it does have Soli, right? And that's how it's going to do the sleep tracking, which is that radar implementation.
It's going to use two things. It'll use Soli and the microphone. So it'll measure your snores and coughing, and then it uses Soli to measure your respiration.
Oh, well, it's
And
not
then
going to
analyze all that.
It's not going to work.
How
on
about your
me.
movement? Does it measure that too, Stacey?
So it's measuring the movement of your chest respiratory.
But if you roll around a lot and
you will calibrate. So when you, and this is important, when you opt in, you'll calibrate it by lying on your bed. And you'll set it there. It'll be like, turn me this way, turn me that way. All right, lay here. And it's a one person to one device thing. So if you sleep with someone, it's only going to track you in your chunk of the bed, and they get no tracking. They say it works via even when you have a CPAP, or if there are animals who sleep on your bed, all kinds of things. So, but
It asks a good question, which is, why do we need this when we all have 800 other ways of monitoring our sleep tracking?
You don't have to wear anything.
Right. I do like that.
Yeah, you don't have to wear like a Fitbit. You don't have to charge it. I mean,
I have a thing under
Sleep Score.
A paddle. Yeah, it's from Serta, under my mattress, in between my mattress and box spring. And there's two of them, one from me and one from whoever's sleeping with me at the time. And it's always my wife. And
Wait a minute.
And
I have a funny story about one of those. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. And then it actually, I don't know how it does it because it's going through the mattress, but it seems to do very well. And then just kind of keeping it honest, I wear this Aura ring, which also does the same thing. I should wear my Apple Watch one night and see if they all confer.
They sync up.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have
Sleep Score. I think it was Sleep Score for hands-on wellness, and it was just a little device that sat off to the side, and it uses the different laser beams firing out, and it seemed pretty consistent when I tested it up with like the Withing Smart. What is it? Withing Smart Band. Some other smart band.
They did have a watch.
Yeah, but they were both pretty consistent on what their readings were, and I find it more convenient to not have to wear something at night.
Well, that's why I like this Serta.
Yeah,
it's when I got it was $60.
But not everybody wants to buy a new bed. And Apple bought a company called Bed It that made
this isn't a bed. No.
This wasn't a bed. This is just a
Nor is the
plastic
sleep tracker.
puck thing.
Yeah.
It was about 4 inches tall, plugged in with the USB-C cable, and it just sat over there at the corner of the bed, just like what Google says they're doing with Nest.
Same technology.
Yeah, so this will compete with that. No, he said lasers. Radar and lasers are different.
Well, yeah, radar. Sorry, it's not lasers.
Oh, I was like,
lasers
I'm like,
would be a little hard to
pew,
sleep.
only Elton John sleeps with lasers. So. What else did they tell you about this solely based device?
It will have Thread. And why will it have Thread? Because one
boy.
day we're going to learn more about Project Chip, but not today.
Thread is
it's delayed.
its home automation radio
Thread is
system.
it's a radio protocol for home networking or smart home devices. Apple has Thread in the new HomePod Mini. You're going to start seeing it in more places. Yeah. And if you've got the HomePod Minis and the NanoLeaf Essential light bulbs, that Thread connection, it is so fast. It is a really nice.
That's one thing a lot of people complain about. I do. The lag between saying, hey, Shlomo, turn out the lights, and the time it actually turns out the lights is a few seconds. And I usually hover in the hall because I'm doing it as I go to bed to make sure that they get turned off before I go to bed. And I don't like that hovering. I would like to just
Gee, you could turn off the switch and it would just happen.
I know. I'm not sold on the whole home automation thing. I'm sorry, Stacey. I apologize.
It's okay.
So
I'm not 100% sold either.
Yeah. Micah,
They got to do better.
Micah Sargent in the chat room, he's saying, Stacey and I always get jazzed about Thread.
Woo!
So I have on my bedside table, I have way too many devices. I have the current Nest hub, so I was thinking of replacing it, but then I realized, but I also have the sleep tracker, I have my ring, and I have the AirPod Mini there too. I'm sure there's some other devices I've forgotten, all right by my head, so I'm sure they're also
But you don't want to keep your cell
giving
phone
me
in
cancer. Oh, the cell phones there, both of them.
I'm wondering how the ultra wideband in the HomePod would react with the radar from Soli.
Yeah.
Would there be interference? I need to check what their
Might be too much stuff in there. I'm sure it's
lot.
not good for me.
Is your bedside table metal? Because I
No.
realized my husband's bedside table is metal.
Is that a problem?
Yeah, metal and wireless frequencies.
Yeah, but he's a higher up than the table is. It just means that if he were under the table, that wouldn't work.
Well, yes, but it's, like it's just another thing you got to think about.
Well, I'm glad I don't have a metal mattress because otherwise the sleep tracker wouldn't work either. So actually, there probably is metal in the mattress. There's springs, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Is it a Tempur-Pedic or is it a spring?
Old-fashioned.
Not.
Or a spring?
Probably not if you're on Casper or something.
Casper has springs. I think the one we have has springs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Only one of their mattresses. It's the mattress for fat boys because the other mattresses, like the foam ones, when you get out of bed, the bed gets out of you. It rolls you out because as soon as you get close to the edge, it collapses and you go, ah!
Right.
So the one we have has an edge so that I can get out of bed. Otherwise, I lie there on my back like a turtle going, help me, honey, get me out of bed. So
Did it come in the little box like the other mattress, or did it come in a big box?
Oh, no, it comes in a box. Yeah.
I think so. I actually saw a story about this, of course, that used the headline "surveillance."
Well, it is. It's surveilling your sleeping. All trackers are surveilling.
You're asking
It's supposed to, right? Isn't that its job?
Yeah,
It is. Well, so
people.
there. Well, okay, no. Let's talk about this like rational people.
At least it doesn't have a camera.
Google. It doesn't have a camera, although I would say, radar does track your motions. So if you think about radar, you could totally tell what someone's doing. Plus, for sleep tracking, it's going to be listening for snoring and things like that. So all the data is processed locally on the device. You have to opt in. There's a visual indicator when that system is turned on, and you can delete things verbally and in the app. So you can be like, delete last night's sleep. So that's what Google's done. But what I will say is saying that you should feel comfortable because there's not a camera in there is a little bit of it's not a red herring. What is it? It's just like a diversion in the sense that radar could be very effective at telling you exactly what you're doing. It's fine grained
But I
radar.
think what people are worried about with the camera is that it's going to see you naked or something. Radar.
Yeah, well, it can see the outline of you and what you're doing.
Oh.
And
Never mind.
I mean,
Not that. What are they going to do? I mean, I don't honestly know why people are worried about a camera in the bedroom.
well, and again, all that data, just the results are sent to the cloud. All of that data is processed on the
I'll
device.
give you something to worry about.
Oh, it's processed on the device. What gets sent to the cloud? Anything?
The
results.
Your REM sleep was this.
Right.
You slept this long.
Good. So it's doing it all in
Snore like a train.
It's amazing they could do this for $100. And by the way, the screen is great. I really like having a Nest Hub in the bedroom. I could say, because I have YouTube TV, I could say, let's watch CNN, and it's got a little screen on my bedside table, or watch the ball game when the football games were on. I would have that going. That's kind of nice. And music, and I mean, I really like the Nest Hub. It's kind of amazing what they could do for $100.
So the fear of the camera, I think, is
pictures.
Well, it's former New Yorker writer. And so the other morning I wait
a minute, what? It's former New Yorker writer?
What's his name? Who got in trouble for?
Oh, Jeffrey Toobin. Yeah.
Thank you, Jeffrey Toobin.
No, that wouldn't be
so
good.
well. But the other day I was watching an Australian academic conference, and it was on Zoom, and I was in bed because it was Australian time. So as soon as I woke up, I turned it on. But I was in bed, and I was paranoid.
Too
For
many
the first time in my
cameras.
life, I was paranoid about making sure the camera was off.
Yeah.
Right.
I understand that.
So it's more about accidents, I think.
Now, I'm not crazy about a sleep tracker that uses my noises to like my mouth noises.
As long as it doesn't play it back to you.
Well,
I see.
No. You get your mind out of the gutter. I tape my mouth shut, so I don't. I'm giving you a very weird picture. I am giving you a very weird picture of my
We
bedtime
can wish
habits.
for this.
No, it's
that was
true.
the wrong time to take a drink of water, man.
I read this book. It's a good book. You probably read it, Stacey, because you're up on all this stuff, called Breath, right? By James Nestor. Have you read that yet? It's all the rage. Everybody's talking about it. It's how we don't breathe right. And mostly you should never breathe through your mouth. And one of the things he recommends, because when you're asleep, your mouth falls, you breathe through your mouth. One of the things he recommends is you take a little bit of 3M micropore surgical tape, and you just put it right here, and your mouth closed. And
Can
it's
we ask
amazing.
you to do that certain times on the show?
Oh, dear.
During the Facebook segment.
Notice I don't bring
No, that's
Facebook
what we'll do,
up
both
anymore.
of them.
This is a chilling effect because I don't bring up Facebook on this show anymore.
And you're fine talking about Facebook. Just don't call me the devil. That's all. That's all I ask.
Okay, so you tape your mouth shut, and you're worried because it sounds weird when you're
No,
snoring.
there are
with your
no
mouth
sounds
taped shut?
anymore. Lisa says
okay.
it's like there's nobody in bed with her anymore. She's like sleeping with a mime. I don't know what the hell sounds I was making. But it silences all that. And you just breathe through the whole point really is that you breathe through your nose, which you should
I
be
grip my
doing all
teeth
the
so
time.
hard.
Huh?
So I'm like, even when I'm sleeping, I'm like, "Argh." So my mouth is shut.
Yeah, I used to have a mouth guard.
Oh, you have a guard?
I do.
Yeah.
I
Your
have
mouth
one,
bar's
too.
good. You
I
could
have
do
a
this with a
CPAP
mouth
now.
guard. That way you'll neither grind nor snore.
Exciting. I'll check it out. I'll try it out.
Hey, chat room. This is what you talk about when you get old.
You gotta.
I wonder if gaffer's tape will work.
No. Well, he said painter's tape is okay. There are people who do it with duct tape. I think that's too sticky. He recommends 3M. I have an extra roll. I bought a dozen. I'll bring it in. He recommends 3M micropore surgical tape. Nestor, the guy who wrote this book, Breathe. If you haven't read Breathe, or Breath, it's not Breathe, it's Breath. If you've not read Breath, I highly
What does he say if you have a beard or a mustache?
Well, don't do it. You don't have to do this. That's not the whole point of the
my
book.
problem is my CPAP. So,
Yeah.
because the CPAP is.
Oh, this will work with the
pillow under
CPAP,
nose.
by the way, Jeff.
Oh, it will.
The
Oh,
Google
good.
thing. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Oh, I see it.
So I have a
Breath,
pillow
the
under my
new
nose.
science of a lost art.
It's a very
I'm sorry,
good
what
book.
was
I highly recommend it, Stacey. It's enjoyable.
All right.
It's fun, and you'll learn how to breathe properly, which apparently we don't
excellent.
know how to do. We breathe through our mouth.
Is it
Notice he's telling you
diaphragm
to read it.
breathing?
He's not
It's because we
bothering me.
eat too much soft food nowadays. Did you know this from the book that ancient skulls, perfect teeth, perfect sinuses, they don't have any of the issues, tooth crowding or anything because of the diet. They think, and then
Yeah,
now in the
that's
modern
always been
soft
said.
food diet,
'Cause-
we all need orthodontia.
Oh my God. Soft foods. What are they talking about? I ate a salad last night. It took me like 30 minutes. God,
Compared with what the Cro-Magnon ate,
crunchy.
a salad
What are they,
is soft
grinding
food.
rocks?
Yeah, they're gnawing on bones.
Like,
Bison legs.
this course
raw
looks delicious.
bison legs.
They may have died at the age of 30, but they had perfect teeth.
That's
Excellent.
the difference.
I don't
Stacey, I got
know.
a question for you.
yes, sir.
Could this device sense cardiac arrest?
Theoretically, if you stopped breathing, yes. I mean, it's not tracking your heart rate. It would have to, but again, all of this, you train it, right? So this is just the radar. So if you trained it to look for cardiac arrest, maybe, but I don't know. I wouldn't.
that'd be interesting
Google's
if
not
it
advertising
called
this
off
for
the
SIDS or anything.
Yeah, well, that's interesting too. If it called off to 911, but it probably wouldn't come in time.
Right, that's the thing.
I also don't think you want an
use would it
automated
be?
device that says he's not breathing and calls 911.
Well, I'd rather that
Yeah,
than the
I mean,
alternative.
I guess.
What
Died
if it just did
peacefully
a
to
siren
sleep.
to wake you up?
This
That
is,
might be.
I mean,
because-
I have devices.
because with-
We all have devices we wear to bed. I wear this ring to bed. It would know if my heart stopped, but I don't think that they've set it. I know they haven't set it up to
Why not?
call 911.
That's what I'm wondering. Why not?
I don't know.
Oh, because you have to be really sure.
Yeah, you
Like
don't. You don't.
99%
You don't want false
sure.
heart attack alarms. That really,
Yeah.
it's not good.
I wear.
If you're in the weird-
pulse oximeter every night.
Do you? All right. So
Yeah.
you know where your blood oxygen is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because are you worried about your blood oxygen level? Or are you
I
just,
wanted.
what's
Well, yeah.
happening?
If you're on a CPAP, yes.
Okay,
and
no,
so
I don't know.
I wanted to track it. I wanted the data to track.
You
before I
should
got the
read
damn
Breath
CPAP
too.
and
Actually, I
afterwards.
think you'd enjoy this book as well, Jeff.
I noticed that you told Stacey to stay healthy and read the book, but you didn't tell me.
No, you would
until
love
now.
it. Well, I figured you're listening.
This blurb is hilarious. If you breathe, you need this book.
So there you go.
Okay.
Anybody here not breathing?
That's how you mark
It's really
it.
good. I like it.
That was our first line for Epicurious, for people who eat.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, Epicurious is not Bon Appetit.
Yes, it is. It was both Bon Appetit and Gourmet. I was there at the start of it.
So, are you following this whole reply all?
Not lately, no. So fill us in, boss.
Yeah, it was a big story in the Sunday Times. Reply All, which is it's a technology podcast from Gimlet Media, except it's really more about, they call it a podcast about the internet, sort of, but it's really more about, it's a lifestyle thing. But they were doing an expose on the racism and sexism, but mostly racism at Epicurious, I guess. Or is it Bon Appetit?
Well, Bon App. I think it was directly at Bon App.
Because it was all white male editors and bylined writers, but all the people doing all the cooking and the hard work were people of color. And they were...
There's a hilarious video of a woman who everybody asked every question of, and they never gave her any credit and didn't pay her well.
Yeah.
So
that was a bit of a scandal. So Reply All is planning a 4-part expose of this. It didn't make it to the 3rd part, and the 2 people who were running it got left, apparently. And it's there was so if you listen to the most recent Reply All, there's no show. He just says, "Hey, I got to apologize. We've decided not to continue the test kitchen series we're doing because, as it turned out, Shruti Pinamameni, who was the host, and PJ Vogt, who was her editor, it triggered a reckoning of their own." But it was unclear exactly what was going on. But on Twitter, there was some threads. Apparently, Miss Pinamameni and Mr. Vogt had contributed to a toxic dynamic at Gimlet. Weirdly, they'd both been critical of unionization efforts. Like, I think that's allowed. I think that's a kind of a...
Like legally
a free speech thing. You don't have to be pro-union. Many people of color felt it was their last chance at creating an environment within Gimlet where they could succeed. It's one of those things where it looked like they were being honest and forthright, but all it did was it was very unclear and muddy. And I thought maybe, Jeff, because it's a media story more than anything else.
I didn't follow that one because it's like layers of an onion.
Yeah.
I followed the Bon App closely, but I didn't follow the Reply All.
Yeah, and of course I follow it because I'm very aware of Gimlet, which is a very successful podcast network. Alex Blumberg was at This American Life and created Planet Money. Somebody said in a recent interview, this all stems from choices made by Alex Blumberg and Matt Lieber, who was a former radio producer and management consultant. Now, and I'm quoting the Times, now former employees of Gimlet and subject to the podcast said they regard the test kitchen as a wasted opportunity to share a sweeping, detailed portrait of racism in the American workplace. By the way, this is from a section of the New York Times I never thought I'd see called The State of Podcasting.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. They just have a bunch of stories and they're theming them under different things.
Oh, okay.
So they've got several kind of broad. It's not.
Yeah. The State of Podcasting, a booming industry, the medium for quarantine, the voices of resistance, growing up on mic, and podcast voice. Those are the different pieces. Anyway, I don't know. Never mind. I'm sorry I brought it up. I thought just because maybe you might, because of Epicurious and because of podcasting. Podcasting is booming. Will Hollywood help or hurt its future? I feel like such a bystander.
I know. Hello.
Hello.
I was there at the beginning.
Hello.
I'm one of the OGs of podcasting.
This is how Orville Wright felt when he was watching Man Walk on the Moon or something. I don't know.
Online 121 if you want it.
Sure, why not?
There's all kinds of podcasting.
I'll tape my mouth and you take over. Go ahead. What is it?
Well, the question is it's not in a green box, so I'm not sure whether we're allowed to talk about
The
it.
state of podcast listening for 2021.
What does the green box mean? Is that like we must cover?
I already asked Jason.
I asked Jason because I wasn't getting all the top stories in. To mark the stories that he felt like we really should do with the green box, and I was supposed to do that too, but I was busy.
His judgment is very good.
My gas station.
He picked the right ones, I think.
Actually, I hadn't seen this. Tom Webster is at Edison Research. He's great. I've seen him speak many times. We're big fans. And Edison is probably the only company that does a lot of research on what people are doing in podcasting. I've seen him do this presentation before.
So it's just some new numbers on it if you care.
The percentage of Americans 12 plus who say they've ever listened to a podcast, wow, 57%.
Wow, you guys.
That's a big jump.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
How about Leo? I wonder what the percentage is who listen to a netcast.
None. 0. Or who have ever heard of Twit? 0.
No.
Monthly podcast listening. 116 million people listen to a podcast in the past month. That's up from what? I can't read this. I don't understand.
I can't understand.
I haven't read this, but does this address the notion that people are actually creating more podcasts now? Yeah.
Well, I remember Tom talking about that a couple of years ago, and I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's something like 7 million new podcasts emerge every week. And which
it's so easy to
500
do,
are still around in the second week. It's something.
Right.
It's something like that. I don't remember the exact numbers. So
if you go down to the bigger chart, to the infographic.
Yeah, this is a good chart. This infographic. 41% of Americans listened to a podcast in the last month. 28% in the last week. 56% of the younger folk, those aged 12 to 34, are monthly podcast listeners. In the last week, U.S. weekly podcast listeners averaged 8 episodes and 5.1 shows.
That's pretty amazing.
His stuff has been most useful for me to understand the difference between people who are new to podcasting, who listen in a very different way than people who are longtime listeners, most of our audience who've been listening for years. For instance,
what's the difference?
The vast majority of newer people listen on a phone, and they listen to a stream. They don't download the show. They just listen to a stream. I'm trying to remember the details of the piece, but I also think I remember him saying they are less loyal. They don't listen to every episode of a show. They open their podcast client and they just pick
Scroll through.
Yeah, they do discover, and they listen to episode here, episode there, episode here, episode there. But I thought the thing that's really interesting, and by the way, Apple has kind of backed this up. Apple, in the new version of iOS, which comes out any day now, probably sometime this month, will stop saying subscribe to a podcast. And I think this is going to become universal. Instead, they'll say follow. But the interesting difference is subscribe, in many cases, would download the episodes to your phone. Follow will not. Follow, and that is a reflection of the fact that most people stream. They don't, right? That's how we all do it now, right? We don't download our shows and then have them on our device. Ubiquitous high-speed internet, and frankly, the fact that data doesn't cost anything anymore for most people means that you listen to whatever. The same thing with your music. You don't download your music ahead of time anymore. You just
right.
Yeah,
but
does
how does it
ferry.
notify you?
How does what notify you? No, they don't do that. Notify you of what?
So when I follow, how does it tell me, oh, Leo has a new episode?
That's all it will tell you. Yeah, it'll give you a notification.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all it will tell you. It won't download it. Yeah.
Right, got it.
So that's going to...
And the advantage of streaming is at least you get more data.
Not really.
No?
No.
It looks just like a download to us. The difference, though, and it's probably okay, but the difference is if people subscribe and they're automatically downloading, we get higher download numbers than if they just listen. They just download when they listen, right? Because they'll download stuff.
It's like the day of hits. I got a lot of hits on the web.
Right. So, yeah.
I miss those innocent days.
Back to Google. Alphabet and their moonshots, the X projects, had something, and I thought Stacy might know a little bit about this, called Maya.
Yeah, this was the
tricorder
food thing.
Yeah, they
tricorder.
Yeah,
Sorry, not the food thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I vaguely remember this. So they killed it though, right?
Yeah.
Because it's impossible to put that many sensors into something.
Well, this is the story from 9 to 5 Google. It was canceled. It was intended to analyze skin health with light waves, and I thought it was kind of related to the earlier Soli story. When they announced it, back in 2019, they said skin health can tell us a lot about our overall health. For example, Jeff, jaundice is an early sign of liver stress.
Who didn't know that?
Hello?
Oh, no. You're pink, not yellow. Oh, you're right, of course. While the oxygen level of our skin can be an indicator of heart health. Pink, not yellow. Today, the way we learn more about our skin and health is with biopsies, which obviously are invasive and require expert intervention and are often done reactively.
I'm not feeling very well suddenly.
Yeah, you're pink. Now he's yellow.
No, I'm yellow now.
Now he's
I'm
yellow.
now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting more and more yellow. Oh,
This is another moonshot like Project Loon that's been canceled. And in this case, because it was too broad and the success was hard to define. For their moonshot to work, the Maya team, Google says, had to tackle several Alphabet says, high-risk, interconnected, hard to know where to start dimensions to the problem. So they're going to have to do a lot of work in different areas before they could even get a sense of when and whether they were making progress. And so they decided to end the project. This is too hard. We quit.
Yeah, well,
it also sounds
it is.
Ruth. Go ahead, Stacey.
Well, that, and if you think about a device like this, who is going to buy it? How, it is kind of a broad device.
Yeah.
If you think about this measures your health. What's it going to tell you? That you're unhealthy? Do you call your doctor? Does it give you an indicator? There's a lot of factors with something like this.
I think in a way what they're really admitting is that the premise was flawed. They had this science fiction idea that, we just take a picture of your skin and we'll know exactly what's going on. And
it just
Jeff
sounds
is the
to me like more
problem.
Typical Google ADD at the management level. Just
more of that.
Bouncing around.
I think you're right. I think you're right, Ed.
Although it's inevitable with X projects, these moonshots, most of them don't make it, right?
Yeah.
Can I just
but
go
at
back,
least
though?
have some sort of action plan or a forecasting where you don't just willy-nilly throw benchmarking. You don't really just willy-nilly throw stuff up to the wall to see if it sticks.
Of course you do. But
maybe they did. Maybe they had.
Of course you do. The error is in announcing it ahead of time. No, the error is just telling us. Don't tell.
I don't think so.
What we talk about?
That's what a moonshot is. It's like, hey, we're going to throw this spaghetti at the wall. See what happens.
Well, if you're worried about how people are going to react when you cancel it, then you don't tell them
about it.
Well, they had a thought. I'm sure they had a thought. I'm sure there was a proposal.
How long ago was this announced originally?
Just 2 years ago.
See, I envision there's in Mountain View, there's Mount Porat. And every month that comes time on the 15th of the month, you have to find the virgin to sacrifice.
This was
Mount
never
Porat.
a product, though. That's the thing. I think you got to have two buckets for this. Products that get canceled, I understand. Because you're using it or somebody's using it and blah, blah. This was never a product. They announced something they were going to try. Didn't work. So they didn't stop doing it. That's called research.
You're right.
That's called research.
Yeah.
Bash them for it. But sometimes there are products I wish did work. That's all.
Well, I won't.
Well,
I'll agree 100%. They kill products too readily. But go ahead, Stacey.
Remember back, Project Soli. Now, this wasn't under Moonshot. This was an ATAP project. But in 2015 is when they actually introduced Soli.
Project Tango. Project Tango first, right?
Tango?
No, it was called Soli from the get-go.
Oh, okay. Because Tango was similar.
They did have a Tango.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they were like, yeah, we'll see what happens with it. It's
Tango was
Soli
AR.
and Jacquard.
Soli was the other way. Yeah.
Soli and Jacquard were at the same time.
Why does this sound similar to the latest camera app update where it's sensing what's going on with your body just from taking a picture?
Oh, yeah, you're right. I mean,
I don't know what the camera app update is. What is it?
Yeah, we talked about it. You haven't
been here. It was in the
here.
recent change line.
I haven't been
here.
here.
2 weeks
You
ago.
haven't been here. It was one of the Google feature dumps. They do those pixel feature
For the
drops.
Pixel line.
And one of the what is that? What did you see on my? Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
What the hell was that?
Nope.
Oh, it's the dock. No, there were some dots. There were some dots. Anyway.
Oh, that's the laser, not lasers.
I thought it might be the LiDAR.
It's the ghost
that
of the
happens
machine.
with the camera. It's the sensors.
They've added to this feature where you can hold it in front of you. It'll see how you're breathing. Actually, it does sound very similar. It probably is using Soli, which is on the Pixel there it is again.
It's on the 4,
that's
not
your
the 5.
your sensor. That's your motion sensor.
Yeah, this is a 4.
So 4
but
does
again,
have
if this
Soli
is
on it.
something we're already seeing in this new Pixel feature drop, that's why I say it sounds like a little bit of ADD. You know, one part of them is saying, okay, all right, let's roll this out. And another part says, oh, scrap it. And where's the organization here?
Yes, right. This you could you get a heart rate by putting your finger on the camera. Using the front-facing camera, it would measure your overall respiratory rate by detecting small chest movements as you breathe. I think that was the March Pixel feature drop. I think it's a little different because the one they just canceled was looking at your skin tone.
Maya looked at, that was many different wavelengths of light. So
right.
different light
so
colors.
It's different.
It's
similar but different.
Similar but different.
This is another problem with Google, which is there are many. It's big. It's Alphabet. It's huge. There's all sorts of stuff they're doing. Some of it overlaps.
Don't get started on messaging.
This is another problem. They're big.
Well, I think it is. Don't you think it's hard to manage such big companies and see them as focused?
For some.
Some of them are really good at it.
Yeah.
Google is.
You got to think Google's got to throw a lot of spaghetti at the walls because advertising.
Grow.
Great.
Yeah, no, that's right. Google must face a suit over snooping in the Incognito browser. It's funny. I've seen people respond both ways. This is Lucy Coe, U.S. District Judge in San Jose, said the court concludes Google did not notify users that Google engages in data collection when the user's in private browsing mode, Google's incognito mode. But does anybody have Chrome in front of them?
Yep.
I do.
Go into incognito mode and, the spy with the hat and the glasses comes up. But I want somebody to read what it says. Because this is what Google tells you when you go into incognito mode.
Hold on.
Now you can browse privately, and other people who use this device won't see your activity. However, downloads and bookmarks will be saved. Chrome won't save the following information. Your activity might still be visible, your browsing history, cookies and site data, information entered in forms, so on and so forth.
Your activity might still be visible to websites you visit, your employee or school, your internet service provider. So this is every single time you go to incognito mode, that pops up. To me, that's Google telling you.
It's not incognito, but they didn't have this forever. They used to when you went to incognito.
They've had it for a long time.
I'm like, it's been so long since I've opened an incognito window.
Well, anyway, that's the dispute. The judge is saying, literally, Google did not notify users that Google engages in data collection when the user's in private browsing mode. And I've seen a lot of people say, it doesn't say we. It says your internet service provider, your school, your employer, other websites. Right. It doesn't say we. Okay, maybe. Anyway, the class action lawsuit goes ahead. It'll be interesting. I've seen a number of people in public forums like Reddit and on Twitter say, what do you mean they didn't tell you? It's right there in the thing that pops up every single time. So, anyway, there you go.
I have to use Google Incognito every day because I have my 2 Google accounts and they don't live happily together in the same browser, my chronic complaint. So my school is incognito and my buzz machine is me.
Google's going to say, and maybe this is what the jury would have to decide, but in the lawsuit, but Google's going to say, we tell you that the only thing you're hiding is from other people using this browser. That's the only place it says that right there. But I do agree that it doesn't say specifically. And by the way, Google is going to continue to collect all the data it's always collected. But they kind of imply that because everybody else is. How smart?
Well, I guess they call it incognito mode.
This is that's the big mistake is incognito mode.
It's like Tesla's autopilot.
Right. Nailed it.
Yeah. Don't name it incognito if you're not. It's going to come down to maybe this is going to be a jury decision on how smart users are, how much you can expect from users. And Google always errs on this because, and in fact, most tech companies, but Google especially, because they're smart and they're engineers. And they just go, well, did you know that
any idiot
would know this?
At least this is not like 5 pages of documents. It is a simple thing we just read. It's very clear.
Yeah. Here's in Google Chrome help. This says how Google Chrome Incognito keeps your browsing private. One sentence. Incognito mode can help keep your browsing private from other people who use your device.
That's it.
That's pretty clear.
Done.
And then it has a lot more if you want to know more, but you're right. Incognito kind of implies.
It makes you feel like you're walking through the world without,
Apple calls it private browsing, right? It's not that Apple does the same thing. It's not that private. Here's a new private window from Firefox. You're in a private window. Firefox clears your search and browsing history when you quit the app or close all private browsing tabs in Windows. By the way, that's exactly what Chrome does. While this doesn't make you anonymous to websites or your internet service provider, it makes it easier to keep what you do online private from anyone else who uses this computer. And then look at this. Firefox has a link, Common Myths About Private Browsing. Myth 1, private browsing makes you anonymous on the internet. Myth 2, private browsing removes all traces of your browsing activity from your computer. Myth 3, private browsing doesn't display any browsing history. Myth 4.
Brave browser has a pretty similar preamble as well. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because they can't anonymize you without like a VPN or some other service, right? To your ISP or websites.
Brave actually has Tor built in for that very reason, right?
And
okay. They have a private session and they also have a private session with Tor.
With Tor,
in quotes.
Ooh.
That's heavy duty private.
That feels like I could take over a country using that.
Stacey,
let's do it.
If you wanted to take over a country, which country would you take over?
Oh, a good one. Canada.
Okay.
You have to fight me, Higginbotham.
It'd be a lot easier to take over Canada than, let's say, Russia. So I'd go for it.
Well, Russia's huge.
True.
I mean, do you really want to hold it? I mean, of course,
you know?
Canada's also huge.
Canada's huge,
now that I think about it.
Yeah, well.
But nice.
Canada's like Australia of the North. It's just all down here.
That's right.
All along the coast.
Right.
The border.
It's just the border. Let's go to Texas. I know you just got out of there, but let's go back. This is another suit about Chrome's privacy sandbox. Google antitrust suit takes aim at Chrome's privacy sandbox. Texas prosecutors say Google's trying to hide its true intentions behind a pretext of privacy. This is
Is this about Google's? I couldn't understand if they're pissed because Google's changing the way they're doing something, or if they're mad about the Flock effort, or what is happening?
I want to be mad at Google.
Yeah, everybody's just mad at Google.
It's popular now to be mad at Google.
It is absolutely.
So find something.
15 state attorneys general led by Texas. Filed in December, it's one of 3 ongoing antitrust cases against Google, including a Colorado case and the Department of Justice's federal case. The updated complaint states that a privacy sandbox, a Google tool that's supposed to replace invasive third-party tracking cookies with a more limited. So this is about Flock with a more limited system.
This is Flock. Okay.
Designed by Google. Here's what the complaint says.
Right?
Google's new scheme, Flock, which is the federated learning of cohorts, federated something of cohorts. Google's new scheme is, the AG's right, in essence, to wall off the entire portion of the internet that consumers access through Chrome. Blocking cookies might broadly be a good thing. Other browsers have already done it, but Chrome dominates the browser market, and it's part of a much larger Google product suite. The suit argues that Google's plans would require advertisers to use it as a middleman so that it's first party, right? And would make Google's advertising system far more attractive. That's kind of what I've insinuated over the last few weeks about Flock.
This is a decent case, even though Paxton is bringing it. Grr.
Yeah.
But it's also a can't win case. You must get rid of cookies. Oh, okay. And by the way, third-party tracking is awful. Oh, okay.
Well, no, what they're saying here is
Okay.
no, what they're saying is Google is what's not misinterpreting. What is it saying? Misleading. It's misleading people about what it's doing, and in effect, it's putting itself in a middleman position. And yeah.
Google's response is Attorney General Paxton's latest claims mischaracterize many aspects of our business, including the steps we're taking with the Privacy Sandbox initiative to protect people's privacy as they browse the web. These efforts have been welcomed by privacy advocates. No one I know. EFF wrote a scathing article about the flock.
Oh, yeah.
Advertisers or our own rivals. As a step forward in preserving user privacy and protecting free content, we will strongly defend ourselves from AG Paxton's baseless claim in court. So there you go. There's another one. It's tough to be a massive multinational tech conglomerate these days. Life is hard.
Yes, I pity them as they. What are their stock prices right now? Hold on.
We were talking during Windows Weekly about Microsoft President Brad Smith's. We talked about it last week too on this show. Testimony in Congress, saying that Google, that Australia should go after Google over this snippet thing. In fact, so should everybody else, including, I think his intent was the U.S. Congress. To which Google responded, it was corporate, what did they say, blatant corporate anti-competitive behavior. They feel like Microsoft's piling on. I kind of honestly defended Google in that case, at least earlier today on Windows Weekly. I do feel like it's Microsoft, which should be defending big tech against the internet against Rupert Murdoch of the world.
But instead, they got into bed with Murdoch in this case, and they claim. So I talked to a counsel on that committee and a staffer on that committee, and other folk and a reporter about it recently. And Brad Smith is there trying to claim credit for bringing Google to the table because he threatened that Bing would stay in Australia. And that just brought Google to their knees. And it's our. You can thank us for Google's money. Jesus Christ, Eddie Haskell.
Google's Kent Walker. Google's counsel called Microsoft's support for the Australian law naked corporate opportunism. That was the phrase I was looking for.
So right.
Yeah.
I read the
Microsoft has admitted as much. If you remember what Brad Smith said about lobbyists.
Yeah.
You're like, that is.
Yeah. That's what we do. In fact, surprise, surprise. U.S. lawmakers propose Australia-style bill for media tech negotiations. This is, by the way, a nonpartisan bill, the Journalism Competition and Preservation Act of 2021. David Cicciolini of Rhode Island, Democrat of Rhode Island, introduced the proposal. This bill will give hard-working local reporters and publishers the helping hand they need right now so they can continue to do their important work. Co-signers include Republican Ken Buck in the House and Mark DeSaulnier in the House, Amy Klobuchar in the Senate, and John Kennedy. Boy, talk about strange bedfellows. John Kennedy and Amy Klobuchar.
Yep.
All
it's
co-sponsors.
Pretty awful. I've read the law, the bill, and it drives me nuts in all kinds of ways. It defines a news content creator. Who could get if they can band together and get a exception to antitrust, and can then, as a powerful force, negotiate against these big evil platforms. Well, who would that be? Well, it's written by the trade association that is controlled by newspapers owned by hedge funds. It is meant for the big old, it's just like Australia, a few big old companies versus big new tech platforms. So it requires you have a dedicated professional editorial staff that creates and distributes original news and related content at least a weekly basis. So all these guys on Substack, screw you. All these people starting these amazing blogs and news sites, to hell with you. It has to be marketed through subscriptions, advertising, and sponsorship. So what about public radio? What about the 19th? What about other things? It has to have at least 25% current news. That's an old postal regulation. That's how old-fashioned they are. And then who's this against? It is the online content distributor is defined as any site that does these things that has no fewer than 1 billion monthly active users. So it's old Titan v new Titan. That's all this is. And it is anti-competitive as hell because new startups, to compete with all these old fart newspapers that have screwed up the last 4 decades, won't be able to get any of this. And this is their effort of protectionism.
So
that's what I screamed about.
So you disagree with Microsoft President Brad Smith, who said the problems that beset journalism today, I don't know how he became an expert on this, but he is. The problems that beset journalism today are caused in part by a fundamental lack of competition in the search and ad tech markets that are controlled by Google. You disagree that that's not the problem that besets journalism today?
Yeah.
It might be the problem that besets, Microsoft's Bing today.
Exactly. So I got called by a staffer to perhaps testify, but nah, what is going to happen? So I did submit a statement to the subcommittee. It was actually in the record.
I've
never done that before.
Nice.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. You posted it on Medium as well, so people can, or on your blog too.
I put it on my blog so you wouldn't complain about Medium.
Yeah.
No, didn't he buy his subscription to Medium?
I did, but I'm glad that Jeff is supporting small local publishers like Buzz Machine.
Yes, that's right. We'll get nothing out of this. So I go through all the international regulations not working, but then I say to grant newspaper owners an exemption from antitrust would be profoundly anti-competitive, for it would, as in Australia, entrench the interest of the largest companies on both sides of the table, media and technology.
Let me play devil's advocate. So,
you never do that.
So, I'm guessing that the intent. I mean, it sounds like the intent to create this 48-month carve out, because otherwise it would be collusion. It would. By the way, this is funny because the sponsor of this bill is the head of the House Antitrust Committee.
Exactly.
But normally this
for you guys.
Yeah, normally this would be collusion and trust activity. Is for the newspapers to all get together and join as a force to do collective bargaining with Google and Facebook over this. You're saying it favors the big ones, but doesn't this also give our little Petaluma, Argus, Courier, and other small, maybe even Substack and Medium a seat at the table too? That's the point, right?
Not really, because it still requires they have, I think, was it minimum staff in there?
So they can't be too small.
No, they can't be too small.
I couldn't go in and say, well, I'm a journalist. I'd like to join the negotiations. The problem is this bill was written, as one reporter told me directly, this was written by David Chauvern, who's the head of the trade association, formerly known as the Newspaper Association, but they realized the newspapers have cooties, so they renamed it NLA. I think it's the one. No, this is NLA. Is this NLA? But anyway, a trade association representing
trade association, right?
And they're mostly the
News
big boys.
Media Alliance. News Media Alliance. Sorry. And so it limits. Well, the other thing is to negotiate what, by the way?
A deal.
But what does a deal mean, right? So Google's saying, and Facebook are both saying, we have products where we will license news, and we're doing that, and we'll negotiate with you, and there it is. They're already saying that. So what is it that they really want? Right. The other thing that the reporter I was talking to was speculating about is it says something about how they can negotiate. The negotiations are not limited to price. Price for what? It doesn't say. And then directly relate to quality, accuracy, attribution, or branding, and the interoperability of news. What I interpret that is favor us, not other people. Favor my members and not other people. This is anti-competitive as hell. But
it doesn't prescribe any solution, right? They're just saying, look, we're going to let you collude for four years.
Right. What I was also told in Australia was that the government was actively negotiating, which is just appalling.
Right. It shouldn't be the government's
No,
part.
But that's what's kind of happening here. Is that at some point the government's going to say, okay, that's enough. That's enough. That's okay. You got enough of your hide. Now go home.
Right.
Yeah. My industry.
All right.
Can't stand them.
Let's take a little break. We have other things to talk about. I'm gonna raise Jeff's blood pressure by bringing up Facebook in a second. But
Here it comes.
Just don't call me evil. That's all I ask.
I never. Show me the tape. Where did I say you're evil? Facebook's evil. I'm not saying Jeff Jarvis is evil, unless you're. Are you Facebook?
No, certainly not.
I do think Facebook's kind of evil.
But if I say anything in defense of the internet, then you accuse me of being in league with the devil.
I'm in favor of the internet. I don't think Facebook's good for the internet.
Go to your break.
I'm defending the internet as we used to know it.
I'm defending the internet.
Oh my gosh. Who's our advertiser?
Thank you, sponsor.
3M Micropore Surgical Tape. If you've ever wanted to shut Leo up, a little pinch between the cheek and gum, and
a little dab will do ya.
Right there.
Does your dear wife ever threaten you with it?
No, she thinks I'm weird. She thinks I'm so weird to do this. I've only done it for 3 nights, but it's you know what? At first I thought, I'll never be able to do this. I'll be tearing it off, or in my sleep I'll unconsciously. No, I wake feeling better than ever, rested. My allergies are gone. My sinuses are clear. I look forward to taping up my mouth every night.
I'm going to try it, but I will say I don't breathe through my mouth. And so this whole book looks silly to me. I'm reading all the reviews.
Good. You shouldn't breathe through your mouth. Good. You're healthy.
I had to. I've got a deviated septum.
Yes.
And
he says that's a result of soft food.
To do it.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Cavemen did not have CPAPs.
It was the boxing match I got in.
Okay. No, he talks about deviated septums are very common. Deviated septums, where your septum is like this instead of like that, and like a triangle.
This is another attack on my cacio e pepe, and I'm not appreciating it.
Our show today brought to you by a very interesting company a company for our times, Nareva. As we think about heading back to the office, you know, it's not going to be the same. Distancing can have big implications for meeting room audio. It can require that you separate people, socially distanced. Maybe you have a limited number of people in the room, all kinds of things. Nevertheless, the most important factor is you got to have good mic coverage, even if people are separated in a meeting room. How do you do that? Beamforming systems, well, they got to be, calibrated and adjusted by expensive technicians and aimed and recalibrated. And even then, once you get it set up, nobody can move. This is like there's a dot on the table. That's where you have to sit. Tabletop systems, yeah, but then you need more mics, and you're going to have to sanitize in between meetings. In both cases, participants are going to have to change their behavior, like sitting in predetermined spots and where they face and all of that. That's why Nareva is so cool. Most conventional audio systems don't give you the flexibility you need to accommodate the modern workspace. But what if there were a better way to get clear, reliable audio and still let your team act naturally and still feel safe? That's Nareva. It's designed for distancing. In fact, one analyst called Nareva Audio the first socially distanced mic system. And you don't need a technician. You don't need to calibrate it. It's really easy. You can install every microphone and speaker bar on the wall yourself. It's basically computational audio. Nareva's patented, they have 4 patents on this, microphone mist technology, fills the room with thousands of virtual microphones. So no matter who's in the room, no matter how they're distanced, no matter where they're facing, they all come in crystal clear. It's brilliant. It adapts to any room configuration and automatically readapts as you move things around, as people move around, as things change. Nareva, N-U-R-E-V-A audio products have won numerous awards, including the Top New Technology Award at ISE 2020. That was for their HDL 200 system. But no matter the size of your room, they have a full line of systems for small, medium, and large spaces. HubSpot uses the next step up, the HDL 300. Jimmy Yan, who's their principal collaboration engineer at HubSpot, said, "We were so impressed with the sound quality, the ease of install, the ease of use of the HDL 300. It was just a no-brainer for us to adopt it." It's kind of cool. It's really a cool technology. Microphone mist means everybody sounds good, is on mic. You can understand them. It really will transform. And by the way, you know what, we were talking the other day on one of the shows about Zoom fatigue. One of the real issues with the fatigue is just bad audio quality. Nareva solves that. You can hear what's going on. To learn more about how Nareva Audio is the simple, cost-effective way to let your teams distance in meetings and still act and converse naturally, visit Nareva, N-U-R-E-V-A, nareva.com/twit. Nareva.com/twit. What a clever idea. Solves meeting room audio. Nareva's designed for distancing. We thank them so much for supporting this week. And Google. See, Facebook, I think Facebook, what do you think of Campbell Brown, Jeff? Do you like her? Do you think she's there?
Yeah, I mean, time for full disclosure is that Facebook has funded activities at my school around quality and news, and that came from Campbell Brown's budget. I'm paid nothing personally by any of the platforms.
She was a network news correspondent, right?
And people, I'll be blunt. When she got that job, people thought, a TV person? What? This is gonna be, but she is adept at dealing with internal and external politics in this very touchy area, and she has fought for journalism and news inside Facebook. So I've come to respect what she does there.
She's VP Global News Partnerships at Facebook. Right. And it was Campbell Brown who made the announcement this week. As writers, it actually was yesterday, as writers, experts, and journalists publish, I'm reading from her post, publish more of their work independently, Facebook are working to better support these efforts and make it easier for these content creators to build businesses online. Well, Stacey, you're the target for this. And actually anybody who does a newsletter, you know, I mean, the cynic in me will say, yeah, they're looking over at Substack and Review, which is the new newsletter platform Twitter just acquired, and saying, I have a new rule.
New rule is that all social networks do everything that all social networks
do. They just copy each other. Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. In the coming months.
But I would not ever host anything on Facebook.
You know, it's funny. Well, my antipathy aside, you know, when Facebook Live came out, everybody said, "Oh, you should stream on Facebook Live." I'm always reluctant to rely on a platform that you don't control.
Yes,
that's
the baseline. I'm like, yep, that's it.
Yeah, I think that's the lesson. And also, I mean, Pages. In the old days, Pages was liked. I put stuff up on Pages, but then Pages fell into disrepair, and now it's coming back up again. So, are they going to promote things and you don't know? That's the question.
This sounds attractive, though. This is what Brown writes. We'll introduce a new platform to empower independent writers, helping them. I said that. We'll start by partnering with a small subset of independent writers. I mean, Stacey, you're exactly the kind of person that she's thinking of, I think. The platform will include a variety of support focused on content creation and audience growth, including a free self-publishing tool with robust styling options to create individual websites and an email newsletter, Substack or Medium maybe. An integration with Facebook Pages to enable publishing across various multimedia formats, photos, live videos, and stories. The ability to create Facebook groups, nurture community readers. This sounds a lot like other initiatives Facebook is.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm the perfect person for this, simply because I have my own ad sales. And
you have your own business model, right?
Like these people, these are basically just trying to make money on journalists, which is fine. But
I think they would say we're trying to share some money with you.
Oh, I don't think they're going to make money on this. I think this is like much of what the platforms do these days with news is a PR effort.
Well, then I would just say to everybody who does this, remember Facebook's pivot to video push for everybody and the lies.
We've been there.
I would not touch this with a 10-foot pole. I would not touch this with a 40-foot pole.
So just stick to Medium. essentially. Stick to Medium.
Medium's
Stick
just
to
as bad.
WordPress.
Yeah. Medium's just as bad because that's their platform. That's why I always encourage, and I think actually Jeff kind of does it right, which is he publishes on Medium where there's an audience, but he also cross-publishes on his own personal blog, so you never lose control of it.
And I also sometimes cross-post onto LinkedIn. In the old days, I used to cross-post onto HuffPost and Guardian Comment is free. Yeah, I'd be okay with cross-posting onto Facebook, but to make it your home. I mean, years ago, and I did say this years ago, and I'll recant now. I think Stacey's right. You don't want to be too dependent when they can pull the rug out. I did try to argue years ago that the platform should make it possible for independent journalists. They should have the package to do this. But I think the world has moved on.
Is it a generational thing that they feel like this is a worthy carrot to dangle? Maybe the younger journalists or what have you are thinking this is something viable.
Aren't they all on their own Wix pages or whatnot? Is that
yeah, everybody
do
has
any
Wix,
of these platforms insist on exclusivity?
No.
It's always assumed that you'll be publishing.
The Substack? I don't even do Substack.
Here's what I would like.
I don't know.
As a journalist, as a working journalist, what I would like is I want to host things on, or I want to do things and keep them for me. So let's say WordPress, because I can control it.
Right.
And then I want a simple way to automatically cross-post and format them for LinkedIn, Medium, or whatever. But no one is doing that. I would actually pay money for that.
That would be valuable
because cutting and pasting, it's just kind of such a pain.
Well, cue our old friend Kevin
Marks.
What's the name of that?
IndieWeb.
IndieWeb.
Okay, yes.
Where that's the architecture that he's been proposing or been implementing for ages, which is you should be able to, and David Weiner is the same on this.
Yeah.
You should be able to write once, post multiple.
And of course, Facebook's not going to do that. Substack's not going to do that. Nobody wants to facilitate you doing that. They may not require you exclusivity, but they don't want to make it too easy.
Well, then you're not helping journalists.
I know.
You're just marketing. You're like the Komen Foundation for journalists.
Right. They want to silo as much as they can because that's how they make money.
I'm in the paid Medium thing for which I get about $40 a month. But there's no mention there of doing it exclusively.
That'll buy a lot at Cacio e Pepe.
Yeah, it will.
It sure will.
Yeah.
Basically, they're buying you lunch.
Fat enough to get another shot. Yeah.
Casey Newton at Platformer. He's another example of a long-time, well-known blogger on big name tech blogs who's gone it on his own with something he calls Platformer. I wonder what he's using. Is he using Substack? I bet he is, but I don't know. Or maybe he's not. Maybe he's smart enough not to use anything.
We have to use something.
Well, I mean,
Unless you're just going to create like an HTML email and just send it out.
You could do that.
You can put up your own server in the basement.
Done. Yeah, it looks like Substack. So he has a piece on Platformer most recently comparing Facebook versus Substack. It's called What Facebook Sees in Newsletters. Hint, it's all about groups plus Substack fumbles. So this is a response to that piece the Campbell Brown piece I just told you about. He says, let's see. I find Facebook's move into newsletters a bit surreal, if only because I started a newsletter in 2017 as an end run around Facebook, or rather as an end run around the idea of algorithmic feeds in general. That's an interesting point. By the way.
It is an interesting point.
After the better part of a decade chasing audiences from platform to platform, kind of your strategy, Stacey, I set out to build a strong direct connection to an audience that wants to hear from me. And that's what you've got now, Stacey, on your own site. And that I can reliably reach no matter how many likes, upvotes, or retweets any individual post happens to get. I'll read between the lines, and what he's saying is Facebook's algorithm determines how many eyeballs you get based on upvotes or likes. And he just wants to have a platform where everybody who comes to that platform is going to read all the stuff he writes. No algorithm here. He says, I won't rehearse Facebook's long history with the news business. It's been rocky and mostly unsatisfying for just about everyone involved. I'm just trying to see if there's a conclusion here.
Point.
Yeah, I have to say, this is the second time I've read through this, and I have had a little trouble finding his point.
I did too.
Okay.
I did too. There's been criticism of Substack that we don't know who they're paying or what the deal is. So I just put this on the rundown below that.
He does raise the before we move on.
Sure.
He does raise the point. I do wonder how committed Facebook will be to these creators in the long term, because it's the reason people don't like Facebook is because the platform changes all the time, making it a shaky ground on which to build a business, which we have been exactly saying. So, you got to question their motivations, and maybe
I think it depends on where this is coming from. If this is coming from profit, then the rug is there ready to be pulled out. If this is coming from, let's do something nice from journalists, maybe they'll be nicer to us, then there's probably a budget behind it, and it'll last as long as that budget lasts. And I don't know which it is.
Yes. So don't count on it either way.
Yeah. No, don't count on anybody. Anyway.
He does use an example, Heather Cox Richardson, the most successful individual on Substack. She makes $1 million in revenue each year. But he also says most of her subscribers come from her Facebook page, which has 1 million followers. I mean, maybe that's a good use of it, is to use
I think that
Facebook
is the way to do this.
as publicity
Yes,
to drive people.
You should control your emails. And also her audience is, LinkedIn is a great place for me actually to get new subscribers and find an audience because I write
perfect
about business. I am perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff.
LinkedIn was great for me to get work.
If you're someone like her and it's a little bit more general interest, then Facebook does make a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm. If I were Substack, let me read the last two paragraphs from this is again Casey Newton's Platformer. Amidst all this, Substack CEO Chris Best tweeted without any other context, quote, defund the thought police, end quote, seeming to side with the platform's most lucrative edgelords over its more centrist and liberal creators. I've since received a few inquiries from writers asking whether being associated with Substack will damage their reputations over the long term.
Because the question is, who is Substack? Substack has Bannon as one of its newsletters. Right. Who are they paying for and whose company are you keeping there? And if you don't know, so that's why the next line has something the Substack put up where they're still not being terribly forthcoming. They've said that more than 30 writers have signed the pro deals, the whole bunch of issues, but you don't know who you're next to.
So Substack, which has a model, it's a newsletter platform, and the model is you could charge and you make money and they take a cut. Except that to jumpstart it, we now know they funded a group, you say 30
it says.
Big name types by saying, here, maybe Heather's one of them. Here's money. Come to Substack and write, and that makes sense. I think Ev did that with Medium right at the beginning to kind of generate traffic in the beginning. He says, Casey Newton says, if I were Substack, I would take pains to demonstrate that the platform offers financial support to creators across the political spectrum and draws hard lines around targeted harassment and bigotry. Tough to do. If Bannon is one of your contributors, I would hire a really good head of communications and give her the passwords to the founders' Twitter accounts. In other words, stop defunding the thought police. I would lean all the way away from culture war and toward. Do you think that Chris Best of Substack is a cancel culture guy, that he's wooing the right?
No idea.
That's kind of what Casey's implying here. That he's
implying it, but I don't know.
He's wooing the right. Maybe that because, well, you know what? I said this last week. Talk radio after Rush Limbaugh realized, hey, you want a big audience? Swing right. That's the audience. Liberals are so namby-pamby, they don't make good talk radio.
Well, liberals, the whole world is your oyster if you're a liberal, in the sense that you look and listen everywhere, right? But if you're a marginalized viewpoint or you feel under attack, there are fewer places if you believe in that, And so I think that's one of the reasons why conservative and having a conservative bent in does so well for these people.
Well, that's the story that conservatives promulgate. I don't know if it's true that the media is liberal, so
well,
if
the
you're
media
on the
is
left,
liberal.
I'm not.
The media is
I'm
liberal.
not saying it that way. I'm saying it that like my viewpoint embraces any number of like. I could read a bunch of books and not be offended, right? I can watch a lot of television.
But can you read Dr. Seuss and not be offended?
Yes, but if your worldview, if there's so many things offend you, you're automatically narrowing your options, and so to find something, do you see?
I would say it same thing the opposite way, which is one of the reasons conservative talk radio does better than liberal talk radio is because it's the radio of resentment. And it's the radio. It's the yes. Because really, look at Ron Johnson has gone now on every major news medium to say I've been canceled. It's like, no, you haven't. You've just appeared everywhere to announce that you've been canceled. Yeah. It's the opposite. But that whining resentment and they're out to get us and all that stuff plays really well, and it makes a much more interesting talk radio than hey, we all need to get along and let's solve our problems.
If newspapers are inherently liberal and talk radio is inherently conservative, is the internet inherently anything?
No. It serves both equally any more than electricity is anything. It's a neutral medium, I think.
Well, but we hear people saying the social media is inherently right. Well, we hear both. We hear social media, it's inherently right-wing because that's what they push because that gets some traffic. On the other hand, we hear the right say, but they cancel us. So you don't know what.
Yeah, but the right has always been the party of persecution. I mean, look at the war on Christmas. So, I mean, this is just...
Yeah, it plays well.
So I would...
It really works well. If you tell... I mean, in its simplest form, if you tell your audience you're smart and everybody else is dumb, they're going to like you. If you tell your audience those dummies are out to get us, we're on a team together. It's a great way to build an audience. It's probably the best way to build an audience. We're on a team. Go Clemson.
It's a cult.
That's not even a cult. That's not even a cult.
People idiots.
Yeah, that's not even. It doesn't have to be a cult. I mean, would you say Clemson supporters are a cult? No, they love Clemson.
Right.
And they love Clemson.
Kill for it.
By hating everybody else, by hating all the other non-Clemsons, right? In the case of college football, it doesn't matter. It's fun.
Right.
It's a game. When it comes to humans and real life, maybe it's not so much fun or so much of a game, but it has the same appeal, has the same visceral, those guys, those are the bad guys. We're the good guys. We're the smart ones. Nobody wants to be the dumb one. Can I give you one more point about marketing with this stuff, which I just so under the post I put up about what Substack said in response, Matt Keiser, I don't know if you've seen his newsletter. It's called What the F Just Happened Today. Yes.
That he did for 4 weeks.
Yes.
He's a former student of mine. Brilliant guy. He's in Seattle, by the way, I think, Stacey. Good guy. So he said Twitter doesn't do anything for his newsletter. He has 6-figure income, which he talks about from his newsletter. He said email-to-email sharing is extremely powerful since it's the only interoperable social media platform, which I found really interesting.
Say that again. Say that again.
Email-to-email sharing is extremely powerful since it's the only interoperable social media platform.
That is true. And unfortunately, but it's only because nobody else wants to be interoperable. Everybody else wants to be siloed. But I agree 100%.
Right.
Email was not. Remember, you're old enough. I'm
old enough
to remember before
MCI mail.
Before email was interoperable. You were on MCI mail. You couldn't email anybody on G email, and that was nuts. But once they figured out how to make it interoperable, nothing could stop it. It's the exact opposite lesson that Twitter and Facebook and everybody else is having.
Yep.
Right? Although maybe Jack has finally got the message since he's proposing this federated blue sky format.
I don't know, but I still buy into the idea that your people are going to be wherever you are. It's not necessarily saying that the newsletter is the best way to go, because it may not be the best way to go for you. It may be Twitter. It may be Medium. And the way I see people keep throwing these big old claims out there. Hey, this is it because I'm making six figures with using this type of methodology. That's not always the case. Some people it just doesn't stick on that platform. There are reasons you have YouTubers that aren't necessarily.
Do you think it's platform specific? It's like the culture of the platform determines who's going to make it on that platform.
I think it's just whoever your audience is. You know, when Miss Stacy was mentioning previously about LinkedIn, I remember a couple of years ago telling my little tiny circle of friends that I enjoy LinkedIn because LinkedIn got me work. And I'm not talking about just, being able to put a resume out there. But if I wanted to have a gig to go shoot something for some people locally, LinkedIn is where I got all of my leads. It wasn't Twitter. It wasn't Instagram. It wasn't Flickr. It was LinkedIn, but it didn't work for everybody else. I wouldn't have thought LinkedIn for you.
That's interesting. Yep.
But it doesn't work that way for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some people have great success on YouTube, and many of us don't.
Yep, that would be me, sir.
Which? I think you're doing all right.
The don't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that might be cultural. I don't know. I mean, that's the big problem, right? If you have a group of fans, Kevin Kelly says all you need is 1,000. I don't know if that's true, but if you have a group of fans,
I actually agree with that.
Yeah, but that's not the problem. The problem is how do you get more, and how do you get discovered? How do you get growth? And you're saying the right platform is different depending on who you are and what your content is and that kind of thing. You got to choose the right place to find that growth.
I had to find where I hate saying this phrase, but it's where my tribe is.
Right.
And most of my tribe is on Twitter.
Right.
And also on LinkedIn.
Is that true for you too, Stacy? Twitter?
Well, that's where I'm at. So I get requests. So I'm on Twitter, so most people find me there. And then LinkedIn is where I get most of my growth from.
Oh, interesting.
We've done
just like Ant.
Yeah, we've done Facebook-y like ad things, and we got some, but most of those people weren't sticky. So
right.
I think that's probably the right. I go where my audience is, but I also go where like people are interested in talking, and I find out as much as I can. And again, my audience is business, so it's kind of not hard. I get a lot of requests to be on YouTube, but I am not.
It's all a mystery to me. I can't figure it out at all. I'm just glad I had a cable television show back in the day. That's all I know. It's just dumb freaking luck. I mean, I really do wish. I don't have much faith in marketing at all.
Well, see, I won't say that because I do believe in marketing yourself.
Well, it makes sense on the premise of it, but I don't know how to do it.
I don't know how to do it either.
I'm not saying I know how, but I'm going to keep trying something.
Right.
Yeah, well, and that's, I mean, I don't know. I tweet about my stuff or I post it on LinkedIn, and then I'm like, oh, look, that worked. Or
I feel like if I can't be a cheerleader for myself, how can I expect anyone else to be a cheerleader for me if I don't even believe in myself?
I just want to go home and play with my computers. That's all.
You are like a walking inspirational T-shirt.
He is. I
love it.
Ant could be the soft-spoken Gary V.
Oh no!
He could inspire people.
Is that a contradiction in terms, though? A soft-spoken
he tries to be inspired. He can inspire people without yelling at them.
Yeah. Let's take a little.
My kids get yelled at enough, so that's where all my yelling goes.
Hardheads, get over here.
Hardheads,
get over here. You call them hardheads with love.
That's right.
With love.
Is there an origin story to the hardheads? Are you willing to say?
It's pretty much how I grew up. Everyone in my childhood, if you were a child, you were a hardhead. No, I don't care what parents said it. I don't care what adult. It was in the neighborhood. Everybody called the children hardheads.
Huh.
Oh, that's
not just my parents, not just my grandparents. The neighbors called us hardheads. It's just it's just what it was.
Is that the town or is that regional? You think?
I think it was just my
regional.
town. I guess
it's your town.
My dad's my mama and papa called my dad and us hardhead.
Oh,
really?
Not hardheads in as a group, but that was a common descriptor for us as children.
It's like shorty, or
yeah,
hardhead.
Hardheads and youngins.
Youngins, I know.
Youngins, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Utes, as Joe Pesci would call them.
Yeah, I think that was Northern, right?
I want to do a new segment on this show called Breathe with Ant. I'm going to tape my mouth up.
We're going to get a new sponsor for that too, right?
Moving on to segment 4. I don't know. I'm making this up now. Instagram. This is in the department of what? You mean they allowed that?
Yeah.
Instagram will no longer let adults message teens who don't follow them. What?
Who the hell would have ever done that?
They allowed that? Teen users will also be shown safety prompts when messaging suspicious adults. Yeah, like, stop. What are you doing?
If you know it's a suspicious adult, why aren't you doing more than just that? What makes an adult suspicious?
I don't know. New policies limiting interactions between teenagers and adults to its platform safer for young users. I mean, I guess,
maybe they didn't want to admit they had so many young users, or that it's a tool for grooming young people.
Well, that's the thing. I would think so. So they'll be introducing safety response that will be shown to teens when they direct message adults who have been, quote, exhibiting potentially suspicious behavior. Oh, this is gross. This is
really
repulsive.
Think about the people who had to build that algorithm. Ugh.
Yeah.
The prompts will remind young users not to feel pressured to respond to messages and to be careful sharing photos, videos, or information with someone you don't know. If you have to do this on a platform, you've got a problem, I think.
Well, people groom across platforms.
I guess so. I mean, look at it when it was,
look
when
at the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, look at AOL Instant Messenger. That was like the home headquarters of all that stuff, right? Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
What did they say? Name, age, sex. Name, sex, age. What was the thing you would type? NSA or something, and they would have to respond. I don't remember what the deal was.
So scary.
Yeah, it was scary. You know how I know? Because I was on a jury for one of those To Catch a Predator. Remember that show they did on Dateline, To Catch a Predator?
You were?
Yeah, because one of the houses that they used that entrapped people was here in Petaluma. So I was on it was a federal jury trying this guy, a Coast Guard guy, young himself. He was early 20s, if not teen, who had been lured by an adult pretending to be a kid on AOL Instant Messenger. And they read us all the, transcripts and everything. It was like, oh, it was so cringy. And then, and we heard the whole prosecution case. And then at the end of the prosecution's case, the defense attorney goes up to the judge and goes, "Judge, move to dismiss." And the judge says, "Yes, absolutely. We're dismissing this case. This is entrapment. Thank you, jury. Goodbye." I never even got to hear the defense. The judge said, "No, that you entrapped this kid."
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a kid that was doing the messaging. It was an adult.
Right.
Age, sex, location, ASL. That's what it was. Yeah. ASL. Age, sex, location.
American Sign Language.
Creepy. And I guess it does make sense. Especially, I don't know. I don't have Instagram, but Lisa does. And some of the stuff's on there is pretty sexy. They've gotten a little less. And I bet you there are teenagers on there who, they're young. They don't know any better. They're putting sexy stuff on there.
They're exploring their sexuality,
right.
which is
normal.
For them.
But there's bad people in there, bad men in there.
Bad men.
Let's be
honest.
But
there's also the camp that understands that if you're going to get impressions, likes, views, whatnot on Instagram, it takes a little bit. It takes doing some edgy stuff.
Yeah, you got to shake it.
That's why mine is pretty bland.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not the medium for me. Or you.
I'm totally fine sharing my work. I'm totally fine sharing my work there and sharing behind the scenes stuff. I enjoy doing that because of the interaction there. Granted, there's more interaction on Twitter, but I still enjoy using Instagram from time to time just to share what I've been working on and sharing some of my shots. But I'm not going to be like what I see in my feed most of the time here recently is just a bunch of selfies and a bunch of look at me's and a bunch of, short skirts and interesting poses and things like that. But that's just not my personality.
So this is a story that you're going to have to explain to me, somebody. The New York Times, the great Amazon Flipathon. You ever buy a product from Eco Baby or Trail Buddy or Quility or Tape King? These are among the most popular in their categories on Amazon, according to the Times, accounting for millions of dollars in yearly sales. They're all owned and operated by a single company, Thrasio, which is one of dozens of firms snapping up successful Amazon brands for millions of dollars.
There's lots of investment in these roll-ups, yes. I put this up here.
Explain to me.
So you decide to start. The example they use here is the guy who wanted a better booster seat for dogs.
Sure.
And it doesn't matter what the product is, but the point, and we've known this, we've talked about this for years on the show.
Yes.
is that you don't have to. You can hire a designer. You can outsource the manufacturer. You can outsource the fulfillment with Amazon.
It's a virtual company.
It's a virtual company. You can be one person and you can have everything you need to create a product as long as it works and you create it. Well, then you have some value because you now have some asset value. You have customers and you have ratings on Amazon and so on and so forth. So those little companies are getting bought up. So that what I'm not sure about is what the value of the roll-up is, except that the roll-up is even more virtual. Well, you at least went to the work of creating the doggy car seat. You did something. We don't have to do anything. Well, we're just going to roll up all these things and sell stuff on Amazon. According
to this article, the way you make money is you raise money based on the roll-up. So you've created a Thrasio, which created this conglomerate of Eco Baby, Trail Buddy, Quility, and Tape King, has now raised $750 million in financing. So there's money in there somewhere.
There's cash flow in there.
Somewhere in this pile, there's a pony.
Is this week's NFT discussion?
It's kind of like that, isn't it? It's amazing. It really is amazing. The world is changing so rapidly. But the quarantine has been huge for these companies. It also changes. I mean, Amazon must love it because, of course, it's a lot of revenue passing through Amazon.
Yep.
I see on TikTok all the time little TikToks on how to make millions of dollars on Amazon, basically by going to, Kohl's, buying up a bunch of clothes, taking the label, the price tag off, and flipping it on Amazon. And I mean, I guess that's gone on forever since eBay, right? People would do that on eBay. They'd buy a pallet of stuff at Costco and sell it one by one and profit.
If you got the time.
Well, and especially with lots of people out of work or underemployed, this is a way to, I think this is the great American dream now.
Well, even in the media business, so I have a community of practice for commerce in media, trying to get them to have more revenue streams. And one company had created their own heavy blanket and made a lot of money on it.
Right.
A lot.
Like a weighted blanket?
Weighted blanket.
Yeah, weighted blanket. Yeah.
Okay.
And now Casper sells them. So it's what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
I'm tempted. I don't know if I would like a heavy blanket, especially if my mouth is taped.
Do you not
closed.
have a weighted blanket? No. They're amazing.
It seems like I'm headed towards some sort of bizarre fantasy.
Leo can't get up.
I can't
the mattress
move.
has him trapped. The heavy blanket, and he can't scream because his mouth is taped closed.
I think
blanket's too damn heavy and I can't yell.
So the guy with the dog seat, it's actually an instructive story. He thought this is a good category. He looked on Amazon, did a search, and noticed in the reviews they were all for small dogs and they were flimsy. So he said, He actually did some effort. He went to trade shows and stuff, and he found and made went to actually the China and Import and Export Fair in Guangzhou, and found a well-made car booster seat for dogs. Actually, maybe not, but he found a supplier who could make something better, even better. Yes. Yeah. He went to a factory. Anyway, on and on. And he's eventually flipped this business for low six figures, to an individual investor interested in using as a steady stream of income.
which is like buying a deli, so you can just get the money.
Yeah.
Or an apartment building.
Oh, this is something. Yes, this is a thing that happens. I know. I wasn't paying attention at first, but yes, this is a. My husband actually has an entire book on this. Yeah. Okay.
They all feel a little like get rich quick schemes, except they work if you put enough effort and energy into it.
It's kind of like building up back in the day an affiliate marketing page that worked, and people would buy them and passive income stream.
Yeah. So Stacey, I guess there's let's try this. You can be wise and just buy other products and then rebrand them and sell them. You can buy things from stores, which is the one end, like, go to Costco and buy stuff, or you can design products and make them through manufacturers. Right? There's a range there, I think. No?
Yeah, well, that you just described like all the options of manufacturing or selling a product, basically.
That's what's happening.
Right, but
now.
the point is now you could do it as one person. You could do it as now one
But
person.
this company, I bet you 20 years, Thrasio, which I've just learned about today from this article, is going to be like Procter and Gamble. I mean, this is how these guys started. They made soap because there was leftover. This is another great book, by the way, I mentioned before, called Clean. It goes with breath. Mm-hmm. But it's about the soap industry, and these guys, these meat rendering plants had a lot of animal fat, and they didn't know what to do with it. They were throwing it out. They turn it into soap. Now you have to make a market for soap, and that's why Lever Brothers, Procter and Gamble, and all these companies that are huge now. That's how they started. It's kind of like the same thing. You see, for instance, Thrasio said everything we buy is a solution to a problem of some kind. Much of what Joshua Silberstein, the founder, looks for is obvious. A good product differentiation.
Long tail that Chris
Anderson. Long tail.
Yes, Chris
Anderson's
right.
long tail. A solid, scalable supply chain.
Manufacturing.
As an example, they talk about Angry Orange, pet deodorizer, an acquisition which they point to as a success story. $30 million in revenue last year. They paid $1.4 million to buy it 2 years ago. Or Trail Buddy, its brand of hiking poles. Or for its
dogs?
No, yeah, might as well. Everything should be for dogs. Or for its extensive listings in bedding, crafting supplies, coolers, and thermoses. It's like, find a need and fill it.
So how are these things found? Is somebody going in and searching for dog car seat? Or do they have to buy advertising on Amazon?
I think that's one of the things that's changed.
Or they do social?
That's one of the things that's changed is you can do your market research on Amazon. You go to China, you get it made, and you sell it on Amazon. I mean, that's how you find a market.
Complete circle.
It's a complete circle. And by the way, Silberstein says when you're really successful on Amazon, it might make up 95% of your net worth. You're in a place where it's kind of hard to diversify, and then what if something goes wrong? So I guess he's concerned about Amazon, but what are you going to do?
Well, one thing about the dog seat guy is you do get caught in a problem of capital.
Because he only sold it for low six figures. That's a lot of work for $100,000. I mean, that's
it was kind of a lesson for him. But the point is that if you don't make enough, then it's an opportunity cost. If you make too many, then you're stuck with a warehouse filled with, or an Amazon warehouse filled with dog seats, which they probably charge you space for every month. I don't know how that operates.
That's why you actually just find hot products. You do the whole virtual storefront instead, and you just source them from Alibaba. That's where the money is.
Or you do Kickstarter and you use your customers' capital.
Or that, okay. This is the lesson that Andrew learned in his early days was just don't do a business with inventory.
Yeah, never want inventory. Right. And if you don't have to do fulfillment, all the better. And guess what Amazon does? Inventory and fulfillment.
All of it.
But you don't want to own an inventory. If you
no, but Bezos is brilliant because he's just taking a little bit from every one of these companies. Yeah. He's making it. He's facilitating it. The lesson for us as buyers is buyer beware, because there's all sorts of crap on Amazon.
Right. I just bought. Well, I didn't buy it from Amazon. I think it was an Instagram ad or a Facebook ad. Probably was a Facebook ad, and it was a hoodie, a lined hoodie, and I want one more for next winter, and I got it, and it smells awful. Yeah,
that's a real problem. Terrible. A lot of these Chinese things,
and I didn't look. and I didn't see what the return policy was. I always look. This time I didn't look.
Yeah.
And it says we don't take returns.
Because we know it
But I
smells.
emailed them, and they said, no, well, if you take a picture of the problem, how do you take a picture of smell?
Right.
We'll give you the money back, and you just keep it because we're too small and we don't
Yeah,
take
they
it
don't
back.
want it back. Yeah.
With Photoshop.
Well, take a picture of you holding your nose and having somebody
Yeah.
else go,
And, and little lines. It's always good to draw little lines coming off.
Yeah. Smell, yeah.
The kid, remember the cryptocurrency hack on Twitter where kid gets on and tweets as Joe Biden and Barack Obama and Bill Gates and Elon Musk saying, I've decided to give a portion of my fortune to the the needy or to the undeserving, doesn't really matter. And here's my Bitcoin wallet. Help me out. Send me some money so we can share it. I'll double it. He was 18 years old. Actually, no, he was 17 years old when he did it.
Thank goodness for him, he was 17.
He was 17. Well, maybe not.
No, he's on a youth program.
He pled guilty to all state charges, 3-year sentence in a juvenile facility in Tampa. He's 18 now. We even said at the time, remember this we were on the air when this happened.
We said it's a kid.
We said, well, it
was really clever Russian.
It was really puzzling because it could have been so much more. Of course, it was a 17-year-old. That's why. He got 12.86 Bitcoin, about $117,000 on the date of the attack. A little more now.
What his lawyers cost him.
Yeah. So he pled guilty. 1 count of organized fraud, 17 counts of communications fraud, 1 count of fraudulent use of personal information. With at least
all of which he's guilty. He shouldn't have done it. It's all wrong. But he's clearly bright. Imagine if this kid went to college and got a decent career.
When he gets out of juvie, he's going to get some job offers, I'm sure.
Yeah, he'll have jobs. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, Tampa Bay newspaper said 3 years in prison. No, it's juvie.
Well, you wouldn't want to be there.
Yeah, well, no. And by the way, they posted just the scariest picture of this guy. So I'm not going to say his name because, he's a kid. He's a kid.
He's a ute.
He's a ute. You know who's not a ute?
Clearly a hardhead.
Elon Musk is a hardhead, though. He's not a ute, but he's a hardhead. His new title, Technoking, the company's CFO, Tesla's CFO, is now designated Master of Coin. This found in documents filed with the Security and Exchange Commission. That's taking it seriously. In the 8K filing, both executives will also retain the CEO and CFO titles, but please refer to me.
So I think we need new lower
King.
thirds.
What do you want?
I was emailing Jason about
what do
this.
you want?
I don't
You want to be
mind this, but I think
Technoking?
you are the pod dictator.
It's not a democracy.
Exactly. Stacy is the IO Tsar.
Oh, I like
Doesn't
it.
quite work as well.
Iozar, I like it. It'll look
I was
good in
thinking
print.
of Ant as the master of pixels.
Master of Pickles.
Pixels.
Oh, Pixels. Master of
pusher.
Pixels. And what is
Pixels
your
do go
title?
well with barbecue.
What
though.
is your title? Oh, Jeff Jarvis.
I don't have one.
Oh, we got to have a title for him. How about the Techno Panic King? Or Mr. Moral Panic?
No. The arbiter of panic.
The arbiter of panic.
I'm totally fine with court gesture over here.
Yeah, actually, Jeff could be the keeper of the panic. Yeah.
The keeper of the panic.
John's working hard. There, he's got one.
Release the panic.
Release the panic. I am the panic keeper. Pod dictator. Pod dictator. Actually, it looks like Poe dictator. It's not good. It's not good. Poe dictator. IOTSAR for Stacy, the Iozar.
Chief Twit.
Yeah. Well, I am still the chief twit. I always have.
What
been.
was Zuckerberg's? I'm the CEO.
I'm CEO, comma bitch. It was on his card. That was kind of funny. All right. I'm not going to say anything about NFTs. We've done NFTs.
This is a great thread.
Wow. So we had last week. We had. You missed it. Trey Ratcliffe on, Stacy, my favorite photographer. He's doing NFTs.
Other than Ant, prove it.
I like AMP, but I've known Trey for 20 years.
Trey is still Trey.
Yeah, a long
trust
time.
me, I'm not jealous here.
Yeah.
All right. You're a humble
So there's
man.
two NFT stories. This one is wild. The artist known as Beeple sold one of his images. It's actually all of his images in a single image, the first 5,000 days, for more. It's the third highest sale for any living artist after Jeff Koons and David Hockney. His JPEG, it's a JPEG, not even a ping or a TIFF.
This is a lossy format,
It's
y'all.
a lossy format for $60 million. When you include Christie's fee, the auction house, $69.3 million for a JPEG, for a lossy format. More than everybody except Jeff Koons and David Hockney. It's crazy. It's crazy. Crazy
But
talk.
who bought it? Who bought it?
Well, Metacovan is the pseudonym, but I think we've kind of uncovered who he is, and thanks to Amy Castor, who's a blogger, but did, I think, some good research figuring out that Metacovan is actually a well-known crypto entrepreneur, Vignesh Sundarasan. And I think this confirms what we really thought, which is that a lot of the money being spent right now on NFTs comes from is made up money, is found
circular
money anyway. It's Bitcoin or Ethereum,
and promotes their own business.
Well, in this
Pumps up
case,
the market.
Metacovan actually probably is selling the shares of this to a syndicate called B20, of which Beeple has 2%, which is bizarre. And so Metacovan makes money on this by buying a $69 million painting and then selling shares to people who
Don't put your retirement here, folks.
Yeah, and it's all speculation. It's all about.
It's all okay.
Let's make some money.
But the thread that I put that thread.
Yes,
in,
I'm going to go to the thread in just a second. I do want to, before we leave the Beeple story, I do want to point out another crypto millionaire, founder of the Tron blockchain, Justin Sun, wanted to spend more. He tweeted, I tried to update my bid to $70 million in the last 30 seconds. My offer was somehow not accepted by Christie's system, even though there's 20 seconds left. He's upset. He said, I wanted to spend 70.
There's too much money in some people's pockets.
So here's the thread you're referring to from, let's see.
Jonty Waring.
There it is. Jonty, Jonty Waring. Do you know who Jonty Waring is, or does it matter?
No idea.
Out of curiosity, Jonty writes, I dug into how NFTs actually reference the media you're buying, and my eyebrows are now orbiting the moon. Short version, the token you bought either points to a URL on the internet or an IPFS hash. In most circumstances, IPFS is an IP file system. It's basically like a distributed network file system. The problem with a URL is it could go up or down. An IPFS hash might have some longevity. In most circumstances, it references an IPFS gateway on the internet run by the startup you bought the NFT from. And that URL is not the medium. It's not the painting. It's not a link to the image. It's a JSON metadata file that basically is your blockchain entry. Here's the NFT token for artwork sold by Beeple, not for quite so much. Sold via Nifty. This is the token. That's it. That's it right there. That file refers to the actual media you just bought, which in this case is hosted via Cloudinary CDN served by Nifty's servers again. So if Nifty goes bust, your token is now worthless. It refers to nothing. This can't be changed. It's in the blockchain. But you said some users use IPFS. Well, let's look at the $65 million Beeple sold by Christie's. The token refers directly to an IPFS hash. We could take that hash and fetch the JSON metadata using a public gateway. So, well done for referring to IPFS. It references the specific file rather than a breakable URL. But the metadata links to a website, an IPFS gateway run by Maker's Place, which is the NFT minting startup who will go bust one day.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what he's saying is all of this relies on ephemeral internet infrastructure.
Which has always been like, I mean, that's the internet. That's and if you actually use, and you see actually some really interesting articles like in like art conservation magazines about like conserving digital art that talks about a lot of this. So, and as someone who's been working on the internet for 2 decades, you just got to relax and let it go.
After having spent $69 million
just my
on
mentality.
it.
Yeah, it's all.
Well, that's the
all
other
I
thing.
know is if you're the
spend
artist
that.
and you get something purchased, you better collect, transfer it quickly.
Yeah, and turn it into dollars.
Turn that into real dollars.
Yeah.
So I will tell you, my Helium router, it's gotten like the HNTs, the Helium Network tokens.
Yeah.
They're worth like $8,000. I've minted that much in HNTs, and I'm like,
Nice.
I need to convert.
Well, that's the.
So
But see, here's
my-
the problem. Convert now, and will you be like the person who sold his Bitcoin for $5?
No, I won't, because I did nothing, and free money is still more money.
But it's $8,000. What if it were $80,000 or $800,000?
Well, it's still going to be minting. It can still,
It can still mint. So remember,
if it rose up.
remember Cranberry Juice guy, the longboard skater who
TikTok guy.
he's selling that as
Tell
an
me he's a
NFT.
billionaire.
You could buy that. No, he's selling it as an NFT.
Jesus.
Good on him.
Yeah, Nathan Apodaca will be selling the clip for $500,000. That's the minimum bid. Buy a house, yeah.
Well, people are like,
Crazy.
you should invest that money. And he's like, I'm going to buy
I didn't want to play Fleetwood
house
Mac
for my
out
parents.
loud anyway. So
That was an interesting question, though. Can he sell that?
Yeah, but that's on the TikTok
Yeah.
platform, isn't it? TikTok's to
no, you can sell it. That's the beauty of this.
He made the video, so he's got the video.
it's not about ownership. It's not about anything.
Right.
You can sell anything as an NFT, even if you don't own it. I could sell the Mona Lisa as an NFT. Now you'd be foolish to buy it because I don't own them. I don't have any connection with the Mona Lisa, but I still could sell it as an NFT. And if somebody bought it, the ball starts rolling. So I don't think anybody cares. The Ocean Spray logo on the bottle will be blurred out, and it will not include the Fleetwood Mac song.
that was my next question.
Yeah,
Because he can't
Copyright
sell
for
those.
the audio.
well, he can. I think, it's my opinion, he can. But you're not buying that.
He's turned it into art.
Yeah, you're buying that particular rendition of it, but probably to
That
avoid
makes
any.
no sense to me. I don't even understand.
He's being.
Yeah, I want to know what he's going to do to keep the lawyers away if this happens to sell.
What are they going to accuse him of?
Well, again,
He didn't
the
sell. He's
Fleetwood
not
Mac
selling
track.
anything. Yeah, but he's not. But
He's
there's not. What is he selling? When you buy an NBA highlight,
Play, right?
what do you get? You don't
I
get
thought
anything.
you got the ownership of that particular.
no,
file,
you don't
right?
know. You don't know.
No.
Oh, jeez.
That's what's so wacky.
The NBA still owns it and can run it and all that stuff. I don't get it. He's going to buy a house for his parents and fund a new event center in his hometown, Idaho Falls. Well, let's see. We'll see.
I hope he gets it.
We'll see if he gets. Yeah.
I hope
whatever.
he gets it
Yeah.
safely. I'll
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah. This is. Yeah, I should really do the change log, but I really want to talk about the Freedom Phone. The Freedom
Yeah, I
Phone.
want to know what this is because you can't find out. Yeah. What is this?
Oh, this is changed. This is interesting. This was when I bookmarked it, had a picture of a phone that was obviously an Android phone and all this. I think it's kind of a scam, but we'll see.
Was
They're
it
selling a
promising?
phone. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, because the link that I put has changed since I put it in there. They're selling a phone that for conservatives, will come preloaded with Parler and Gab.
Oy. You want to buy an NFT and a bridge? I'll sell you both.
I honestly think they're just selling some old Android phone with some apps installed. But we'll
The Pablo phone.
see. Yeah. Yeah, remember
Pablo,
that? The Pablo
Samsung
Escobar.
phones.
The Escobar? Yeah. All right.
Oh my gosh, they said it costs $450 for this phone, and it is. It has Parler.
It's a Galaxy.
Yeah, but it's
S9.
an Android phone. This isn't it. This is another story. California, I think this is misreported. It has been widely reported that they have a new regulation banning dark patterns as part of the California Consumer Privacy Act. I don't think it. So you know what dark patterns are? Those are, and it, by the way, it'd be very hard to prosecute people for dark patterns because it's really in the eye of the beholder. But these are things that kind of psychological tricks that get you to pay for something or forget to unsubscribe, something like that. So it's a way of taking you. Underhanded strategies that rely on confusing language or unnecessary steps such as forced clicking or scrolling through multiple screens or listening to why you shouldn't opt out of their data sale. This is from the California Attorney General's office. I don't think the regulation actually does that. And it would be very hard if it did to say this is a dark pattern, this isn't. This is just the internet. We'll see. We'll see.
Is that similar to like the pop-up windows you get that would have the tiny X hidden sort of up in the corner where you don't obviously
that's
see
a dark pattern. Actually, there's a great site if you want to see a whole lot of dark patterns. I think it's darkpatterns.org. Let me just see if that's right. Yep, darkpatterns.org, which has the Hall of Shame. And there's a lot of them in here.
Lovely.
Yeah. So if you're curious, the problem is, I don't know how. I mean, the one the Attorney General offered is pretty bad. Here's a window that says, "Are you sure you want to opt out? No, take me back." And then very, very, very light printing underneath that. Yeah, I want to opt out. And then a big long piece of text, very tiny text saying, "If you opt out." But I don't know. Again. Yeah, I don't know. It might just be consumer protection stuff. Let's do a Google changelog.
The Google changelog.
Big improvement to Google Maps. It's kind of getting Waze-like. I know you use Waze, Jeff.
Yep.
And one of the things that makes Waze so good is its users can add to the maps, can put police in and so forth. Google now is allowing you to actually draw or new or missing roads on maps. Actually draw on the map. There'll be a side menu button called Edit the Map. You can select missing road, and now the power to map is in your hands. What could possibly go wrong? Add missing roads by drawing lines. Quickly rename roads, change roads directionality, and realign or delete
Pod
incorrect
Dictator
roads.
Lane.
That's where I live. Waze figured out how to do this properly, so I imagine Google, probably from the Waze thing, is getting this. There's a lot of nice little features they're adding to Google Maps. More ways to share photos, reviews, things like that. That's in the keyword blog. Maps gets better all the time. Live captioning is coming to Chrome. Fabulous feature. I think it's on Android. Most Android phones.
On Android only, yes.
Yeah, but certainly if you have a Pixel phone, you've seen it at work, and I think it's one of the coolest things. I guess the S20 now has it, the OnePlus 8, OnePlus Nord. And it's going to be part of Google Chrome, a live caption feature. When you're watching a video, it'll automatically caption it, which is helpful, of course, for people who, have hearing issues. But, I think in general, sometimes captions are pretty useful. Captions will appear in a small pop-up window at the bottom of a video. Oh, that explains it. I've been seeing those last 2 days. They're really small. Oh, that explains it. They've been working on this for a year. I've started seeing it, and I didn't know it. Oh, now I know why I've been seeing captions everywhere. So
can I caption this right now?
Yes. Yeah, go in Chrome to YouTube or the live stream. You should be able to caption what I'm reading. I watch a lot of video.
The Zoom I'm on.
Yeah, right? Probably. I guess if it's in Chrome.
It's in Chrome, right?
I watch a lot of video at night with the sound turned off because my lips are taped shut and I can't get out of bed. and lately I haven't seen.
And you're under 80 pounds of blanket.
Help me! YouTube is rolling out copyright checks for videos before they're published. Now, we should start using this. Talk about a chilling effect. Usually what happens is you upload your video and you find out later that it's been pulled down.
Then you got a strike against you and you can't get it off. And
so this is a new part of the upload process. It's called checks. It actually analyzes the video before you upload it, before it's published, so you can see if you're going to face any problems. So there you go. Look at that.
Seems like this has been in place for a while, because I would stage some of my uploads and just put them in unlisted, and every now and then I'd get a notification about something being
that's
copyrighted.
smart.
Well, this is explicit now, and we will check your video for any issues that may restrict its visibility or monetization.
Ant, did you get strikes against you for having violations if you did that?
No, sir. I have no strikes. And usually when I did get those notifications, I could appeal it because I did have written consent from the artist.
Mm-hmm.
So I was covered.
Quibi was such a huge success in the U.S. that now YouTube is rolling out YouTube Shorts.
Sounds like apparel.
You're wearing your YouTube shorts?
Summertime. Time for my YouTube shorts.
Yeah. Now, actually, 9 to 5 Google, which had this story, now says the blog post was dated for Thursday, but has since been pulled. Let's see if we can see this. The blog.youtube.com post. Yep. Doesn't exist anymore. So maybe YouTube Shorts are not rolling out. Watch this space. The Google, I still want them. I want my YouTube Shorts. Google Family Link letting parents set always allowed apps, get more detailed activity reports. Family Link is a program you install from the Play Store from Google that will tell parents how kids are using devices and let them designate some apps as okay, some apps not. You can even say now there are some apps that even after the screen time limit is up, you can use these apps. So more control in the Family Link app. The company also launched a site, families.google, which is a one-stop technology resource to help you make technology work for your family. Aw, if that baby's using technology, you got a problem. Aw, it's cute. Kid put flowers in my beard. What are families asking Google? How much screen time is too much for my kids? They've been asking that 217% more times this year than last. So,
valid question, considering nobody knows how much is
nobody
too
knows
much nowadays.
Yeah, what's the answer? I don't know.
People actually sit down and ask questions like that of Google?
Sure, don't you?
No. Well, I mean, how old is
If I looked at my last
report?
Google searches, they are always stuff like that.
Yeah.
Really?
Questionable.
Or they're really weird.
How old is Jane
doubt.
Fonda? Things like that.
Yeah, we do a lot of that.
And yeah, all the time. Lisa says, no, she's older than you. I said, no, she's not. Yes, she is. Hey, Google, how old is Jane Fonda? And the, bets
you
of
jerk.
And now a lot of wives around America are going to say, why were you asking about Jane Fonda? I see it in your history.
I watched the China Syndrome the other day. That's aged quite well with Jack Lemmon, this crazed nuclear power plant operator who barricaded himself inside the control room.
Inspiration for The Simpsons. No.
It could have been.
Could have been.
It was a good movie. Michael Douglas produced it. He was in it. Jane Fonda, Jack Lemmon. Brilliant thread. This sounds like you. Are you blue?
I put a blue box in there. I love
Jeff is blue.
I feel like it.
Brilliant thread on why
Did
Clubhouse.
we actually close the changelog?
Yeah, didn't we? Did I play the drums?
No.
And I said it, and that's the Google changelog.
Like it matters. We got
It does matter.
Hey,
like the universe is never going to be in order again. It's leaving open the changelog lets in all kinds of trolls and nasty animals. Yeah, it's awful.
Jason, if
Thank
you
you,
want,
Ant,
you can just
for
delete
saving the
Jeff
universe.
right now. Just making Jason's life hard. Let's not do
If
that.
we didn't have that
Nice
bumper,
people.
I would have been walking a little bit crooked the rest of the day because I've been off balance. So
Did you see the 1 minute 26-second drone video of a bowling alley to promote it that got Hollywood all excited? One Hollywood veteran
Pretty
said,
remarkable.
"It adds to the language and vocabulary of cinema." Wow. That's a lot.
I want Ant's professional view of this.
All right. This is using, by the way, get ready because you're going to see a lot more of this. My son Henry's really into this. FPV, first-person video drones. They are hard to fly. You have to put on a VR helmet because you're moving super fast through tiny spots, and so you put the helmet on so you feel like you're in the drone. Drone racing used it at first, but now they're doing it for video, and it makes watch this. It makes dramatic, fantastic video. Very hard to do. Henry's been doing a simulator for months to learn because it's so hard to do. Let me turn on the sound on this too. So here we go into the Bryant Lane bowling alley.
it's just amazing.
There's no way you could do this with a steady cam or with any. You have to have
Going through tiny spaces.
an FPV drone. Oh, it gets tinier too. So he's flying around the alley. There's, by the way, really, this is so well done because there's people talking about things from the Big Lebowski. There's all sorts of references. Look, we're now actually in the pin resetting machinery.
It's beautiful. I like this one better than the one Mercedes did.
Look at that. Oh,
Mercedes
it's just going right through the guy's legs and underneath the bowling thing. It's really, really cool. And this is a lot of work to do this.
Not easy. Yeah. All right.
But the thing is, because you're wearing a VR helmet, you could be somewhere completely invisible.
This is bowling. There are rules.
And it's turning around. It's doing a 360 as it goes.
Yeah,
through,
yeah.
Which is really
They are doing the lines for the Big Lebowski. I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
no, they're doing the Big Lebowski. You heard that. This is bowling. There are rules.
There are rules.
The rules, Donnie.
Having that much
Great
control
finish.
is just,
And then
Great
watch, here
finish.
comes the ball. He's rolling, strike! And now the drone. By the way, that's $1,000 drone that's going to get squished by a bowling pin machine.
worth it.
that is so awesome. The skill to be able to do that, but what people tend to forget is having the. Whoa,
That's all right. That was another story about the pilot seeing a UFO. But I don't know why that. Yeah, go ahead.
The key with those is not only the transmitter, but the goggles, like you mentioned. You can't have any kind of latency on that. And I've tried FPV over the years, and
5G.
it was so hard
It's
because
really
of the
hard.
latency, and I would
Yeah.
get sick within a couple minutes.
Yeah.
But take the goggles off and tell me to fly it. I could fly it. Those things
I
are a lot
got
of fun.
Henry
They got a lot of power.
an FPV drone for Christmas, but he hasn't dared to fly it because they're expensive, and he's really afraid he's going to crash it. So
You can crash them quite quickly because they're going so fast.
credit to Jay Christensen, the drone operator on this, rally-studios.com. He's Jaybird
Well, and because
Films.
he's
It
in
was
a way because they're I mean, that in itself is like being a director because you're organizing
The whole
You've
thing.
got to plan out
Yeah.
the shot beforehand and do.
Yeah, he's good. Here is just if you want to know what it looks like when you're wearing this stuff. It's
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, pretty cool. That's some real skill. All right, I didn't get to all the greens, let alone all the blues. Are there any stories that I left out that we really want to do here?
Uber.
Uber? Is there an Uber story?
I don't know if it's in the doc, but it was in my brain.
134.
They now
Is it
have
green in your
employees
brain
the
or is it
UK.
blue in your brain?
Well, it's green considering we're in California and all of those propositions and stuff that we just recently fought for gig workers, but now
Prop
in the
22. Yeah.
UK, Uber is setting up employees over there and mandatory vacation pay and all that good stuff.
They
Is it in the
basically
doc?
they have to. It isn't in the doc, but it should have been. You're right. They're going to get minimum wage, holiday pay, and pensions. And you know what? God bless Uber, because it said
134.
it said, oh, it isn't 134. they said, yeah, it's time. The CEO, Dara Khosrowshahi, said this is a significant improvement in the standard of work for UK drivers. But I know many observers won't pat us on the back for taking this step, which comes after a 5-year legal battle. Remember, he joined after this legal battle was joined. They have a point, though I hope the path that we chose shows our willingness to change. So I hope that's true. I hope Uber is saying, yeah, you know what? We owe this to our drivers.
You know what? When I read into it more, I thought about how I felt with it being flexible as a contractor, independent contractor. I wonder, I think they actually said, yeah, we'll still have, air quotes, flexibility for these employees, but just how far can they go with that? Because, if you're just an independent contractor, you literally just don't even have to turn the app on to say that I'm going to drive today.
Yeah, at this point, if you're going to get vacation pay and you're going to get a minimum wage, you might have a requirement. They might have a requirement for, I don't know. Then, that's a good thing.
And when will the next vote come for over here in the U.S.? And, they try to make that a precedence here to be employees
by now,
again.
Everybody understands that Uber, the whole business model of Uber is that you take advantage of the drivers as much as they'll let you. You can't go too far because they'll stop working for you, but you get away with as much as you can. That you're already losing money. You're trying to lose less money. So, it's not like the minimum wage you're going to get is a lot. It's $12.40. And it starts the time they accept the ride request. That's another thing people wanted. And they drop off the passenger. Doesn't apply to the time that you're waiting for a request, though.
Yeah.
So they're only guaranteeing that you'll make that much. I see how they're going to do it. Uber will pay drivers on vacation 12% of their earnings. It's not a lot, but that's the thing. If you only do it 1 day a week, well, you're not going to get 2 weeks pay,
right,
for your.
But
vacation.
If you only do it 1 way a week, or 1 day a week, you're not the person that's
right.
You're the happy gig worker who's doing it because they just want to make extra money, as opposed to.
And I think that was Ant's point. He's standing up for gig workers.
Yep.
And I think that's freedom.
I feel like there should be avenues for both.
Agree.
Uber has the data. They know exactly when they need more drivers on the road, right? And you could have employees cover those shifts and then, or have employees that are there during that time and then have your gig folks do whenever else, Anyway, I don't know. Just ignore me.
And again, the employees do have rights, but if you don't want to be an employee, that's a right you have too. It's a choice.
Yeah, but I will say there are lots of people who are stuck in untenable situations, not just because of Uber. It's taking advantage of a societal shift that we've gone through. That means people just don't have good employment anymore. And is it Uber's fault for capitalizing on that?
Right.
Well, let's face it. Uber can't make money unless self-driving vehicles emerge. Drivers cost too much, and this just makes them even less desirable. They lose a lot of money per ride because the drivers cost so much. They can never make money. Some people say we'll never make money, by the way. There's definitely a contingent of people who think Uber has just never been designed to make money ever. But certainly drivers don't help.
With that said, how were they able to go public? How were they able to IPO?
Same
and have that
people
many
who bought
believe in them?
People painting for $70 million.
Okay. Message received, sir. Message received.
If you believe in that Uber is the future, and I can see how people might have believed that, but I think more and more people are, the shorts are saying, come on. I'm not going to get involved. I don't own any Uber stock. All right. I want to do some picks of the week and let Stacy go and enjoy her meal, and Jeff try to find some cacio e pepe, and Ant
go take it's pizza week. It's
pizza week.
Yeah, I don't do it every week.
I thought it wasn't.
Stacy. No, I don't do it every week.
I
Stacy was worried about me.
Beforehand, it was salad. Now it's pizza.
No, with the salad first. I have a salad. And I have a pizza. What's wrong with this?
Here's what they tell me on Noom. If you eat the salad first, you'll eat less pizza. Enjoy. And there's no bad foods.
Amen.
I know there's no bad foods, but weekly cacio e pepe, or possibly more often, given how much Jeff does it.
It's every other week. It's every other week.
And then the bye weeks are pizzas now?
There you go. Now that's living. When is Chicago Hot Dog Monday? That's the one I want to be there for.
Well, here's the problem. I got once even though I've had the vaccination, I act as if I don't.
No,
my wife and daughter
rightly
are here,
so.
Right?
Yes.
When I can escape the bondage of, don't tell my wife this. When I can escape the bondage of the pandemic, God bless science.
Yeah.
I already learned that Taco Bell bean burritos aren't as good as I remembered. I would love a little pepperoni on a pizza just once.
Just one slice.
There are no bad foods, Jeff. Just bad people. No, that's wrong. That's not the rule. All right. Coming up, our picks of the week, our numbers of the week. Prepare your picks. Let's kick off the picks of the week this week with Stacey Higginbotham's. We've missed it for 2 whole weeks. Thing of the week.
Okay, so it is not. It is not a thing.
Okay.
Actually, yeah. You know what? I lied to you.
It is a thing.
We're gonna do a thing this week.
It's a thing.
I'm like, sure. I installed the easy to install $2.99 Fin. Let me tell you what it is. It's okay. I can't spell. Sorry.
$299 or $2.99.
$299. Come on. There's a chip in there.
There's a chip.
So I just want to, it's the Fin Smart Water Assistant. And so this device, you can install, anybody can install it. You don't need a plumber. Some of their other devices do. There is no water shutoff though. So what this does is this analyzes water use throughout the home, and it will tell me, one, how much water things are using. It looks for leaks. And what else does it do? It notifies me if there are leaks. And yeah, I like it because so far I've been able to yell at my daughter when she was taking are y'all ready for this? A 40-minute shower. Finn was like, there is like something happening here. And I was like, dang, what is it? And I'm going around and it was like, it's the shower. And I go to my shower and then I go downstairs and I hear my daughter singing in the shower. And I'm like,
that's what it means to be a teenager. Living in the shower.
Exactly. That's it. Jesus. Mom.
Yep.
None of your business. Yeah. You're surveilling my shower, Mom.
I inadvertently found a way to fix that, by the way. I showed my daughter Abby Psycho when she was about 7. and she never took another shower.
Dad of the year.
Yeah, Dad of the year.
Baths waste a lot more.
That's operant conditioning. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
If she starts to get in the shower, I go, and then...
So wrong.
That's so wrong.
All right. So that is, and if you have a plumber and you want to spend the money, you can get one with an automatic shutoff. But
that's rude. Because then you're standing there with soap in your hair and it's cold. And
No. It's for leaks. Like when it detects the leak, it shuts it off automatically.
Not on your daughter. I get it. Okay. Because that wouldn't be nice.
I mean, if I wanted to, I could go and shut the water off, but that would be kind of a hardcore thing.
I am so sick and tired of you taking all the hot water.
So,
that's a good idea. Just shut off. You don't have to shut off all the water, just the hot water.
And I discovered a leaky toilet.
Okay. So what is this thing you're talking about?
It's called the Fin Smart Water Assistant.
2 N's in the Fin?
P-H-Y-N.
Oh, thank you for spelling it. I don't think I would have found that.
No, that's yeah.
Fine.
Looks like fine too.
Smart.
Without any
water assistant. If you got the PHYN, you got everything you need. So do you put it on one thing and it knows where all the leaks are?
Yeah, you're supposed to put it on like your kitchen sink. I have to put I don't have power by my kitchen sink, so I put it on a bathroom sink.
Oh, you have to put it on everything that might be leaking? No.
No. You just put it in one place.
One place.
You just have to find the place to put it. And then you give it.
Oh, I like this.
I've had it now for,
how do it know?
How do it know? It's algorithms. It measures the water pressure going through the pipes.
And it can tell, but can it tell where the leak is?
Yes.
How
once
does
it knows, once it knows what's running in your house.
So it kind of
do a plumbing check.
It fingerprints your pipe thing, your pipe pressure.
Yeah, it fingerprints what it's. Yeah.
Microscopic water pressure changes. 240 times a second it measures to recognize the unique voice of each fixture in your home. I saw something like this at CES.
So there's another company that does this called Flow.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
FLO.
Yeah.
With a long O over it. Mm-hmm. And they teamed up with Moen. So Finn.
Yeah, I saw it at the Moen booth.
Flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both of those, they're the same sort of thing. And then there's a Flume. Hold on. I'm going to just...
Finn, Flow, and Flume?
It's a hard world out there.
Let me tell you. Stooges.
I think it is Flume.
This is cool. This is really cool. So I like that for $299. Look at a water leak could cost you money. I'll never forget when I was in college, we rented a big house from a nice Ukrainian lady named Krawchuk. And there was a toilet in the basement, and we didn't know. We used it like at the beginning of the summer. By the end of the summer, she had like $1,000 water bill and came screaming at us. And it turned out the toilet, we had flushed it, but it was leaking, and it was leaking all summer. You know how toilets will run sometimes? But it was in the basement, so we didn't know. I felt terrible when I moved to California.
So that's actually, it discovered we had a flapper issue, and it was leaking.
A flapper issue. Yeah, that's exactly right.
So Flow Logic, Flume, and then there's a company called Leak Defense.
So if you have Fin, Flow, or Flume, you'll never have flapper failure.
Yes. Flapper fluctuations?
The flapper fluctuations are final with Fin, Flow, and Flume. Yeah. I like this. I think this is actually good. And especially out here in California, we can't afford to waste water. We don't have enough.
Nope.
So these leaks, they should give us these things. You could save $70 right now. Pre-spring sale.
A lot of insurance companies, if you have AIG or Chubb, those are some fancy insurance
We used
companies.
to have Chubb. Yeah. They were fancy.
Well, they'll give you a discount.
Yeah, they ought to. But you got to get a plumber to install this, right? Or could you do this yourself?
Okay, the one that I have, the $299 one, that does not have water shutoff. That's very important. So this will let me know, but it is not going to shut off my water. That one does not need a plumber.
Nice. No plumber necessary. Turn off the water under your sink, unthread the hot and cold water hoses from the supply lines, and insert Finn's sensors. Connect the device to Wi-Fi, and you're good to go. Well, that doesn't look too hard. I could probably do that.
No, it's not. It's very easy.
But as you say, you need a plug socket near there.
Yes.
Does it matter where on the water supply you put it?
You just need something with a hot water and a cold water, and it should be something that's used relatively often. That's why they recommend the kitchen sink, because you use it a lot.
Right. Cool.
But even your, any bathroom sink should work.
So Fin Plus is the one with the shut off. That needs a plumber probably. So I'm going to just get the Fin. Yeah. And then don't forget the coupon. Let's see if that coupon works. Discount code. Paste that in. Pre-spring sale brings the price down to $250. Actually, $229 before tax. That's not so bad.
Oh,
considering what it's saving you. Jeff Jarvis.
If you have a leak.
If you have a leak. If you never have a leak, what's the point?
You never have a leak.
Yeah. Yes. So somebody in the chat room is saying, well, if you have, are the sensors going to map these? Oh, if you have a leak, if you install this device and you have a leak at that time, it's just going to assume that's normal.
Yeah, the calibration.
No.
Right.
It doesn't. No. It doesn't. That's how it. So I installed it, and it knew that my toilet was working because my toilet was
It could tell it was running all the
abnormally
time.
For a toilet.
Yes.
It was like, yeah, this is not a good toilet, basically.
Oh, okay. Cool.
That's worse.
I mean,
It's weight
if you
and
have-
cold.
If you leave your faucet running all the time, then maybe
It might get mad at you.
It gave me a couple, it did take a week or two to tell it what things were. Because it was like, hey, we found this. What is that? And I'm like, I don't know.
Good. Finn, PHYN.
How would you then determine, how would you say, okay, Finn, what is it you're telling me?
You have an app.
It happened
No, you have an app.
2:46. No.
Yeah, the app.
It happened at 2:46 p.m. How do you then tie its question to finding out the event?
Well, so it only alerts me when it notices weird behavior.
Okay.
So it's like, hey, this is weird. Do you know what this is?
Do you have a daughter?
And I'll be like, oh, yeah, that was my shower.
Oh, so it doesn't assume it's wrong. It just says, I noticed this anomaly. Yeah.
Right. And you'll get, and it takes it time, again, to learn. And when you launch it, you also do, it's not just a calibration thing, it's a plumbing check where it tries to check your pipes for small leaks. Hold on, it's trying to talk to me. The app is a little slow, I will say that. And you can, it's nice to be able to see your water usage. And
it can tell you water usage too. That's good.
Yeah. And it gives you the percentage of we, not surprisingly, use a lot of water in the shower.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is good. I like this, especially if you're in a drought area like we are. Mm-hmm. My tip is do not use SMS for two-factor authentication. If you know anybody who's using it, stop.
Oh.
Joseph Cox writes for Vice for the motherboard section. A hacker got all my texts for $16. Now, I have to say, Joseph Cox hired the hacker to demonstrate this lucky 225. And what he did was, it turns out there's a company called Sakari that does business text messaging. In order to do that, they also need to impersonate your phone number because it's, you don't want a business text message to come from somebody else's phone number. But all you need is a letter of authorization from the owner of the phone number to do that. And then you can send and receive text messages to that phone number. The hacker made a fake letter of authorization. Sakari took it, said, great. And he was able to receive all the text messages going to Cox's phone. And, if it had been a real bad guy, would have used that to hack two-factor and all sorts of stuff. All of this is simple hack.
But you know what I'm finding? Some, I guess you can't call them all merchants, but some things that you log into, they don't offer you the ability to use a OTP or something like that. It's either an email or SMS.
Yes, and so what I know, and what I'm saying is send them this article from Vice and say, my bank does that. My bank, the two-factor is SMS. Period. There's no other way to do it. They need to
What's
know
your bank?
this. I don't want to say the name. What do you think?
No.
What do you want, Stacy? The name and phone number? Is that what you're looking for?
What is your mother's maiden name?
I need your OCR routing number.
It's really, it just shows you. We've known for a long time SMS is a very poor way to do two-factor.
Yeah.
This just puts it over the top. Just not, just don't if you can. And you're right, Ant. A lot of companies do. So send them this and say, can you stop? Give me some other. All you have to do is give me, OTP, and I'll be happy. You're absolutely right.
Are you down with OTP? Yeah.
I'm down, man.
I'm so sorry.
Were you doing a song?
Yeah.
It was.
Are you down with OTP? Yeah.
Jeff Jarvis, number of the week.
Thank you, Ant.
So
Yes.
Stacy goes back to the past with the water net. And I'm going to go with whale net.
Whale net.
Aquanet.
Aquanet for that sounds like hairspray. Yeah, exactly. So a new study published by the Royal Society found that whales change their behavior around the world.
What?
When attacked by humans in the 19th century.
Oh. You mean whaling boats?
whaling boats. And so after humans started attacking whales, orcas was the sperm whale's only enemy was the orca. And they had a strategy wherein they would circle around and put their tails out to bat the orcas away. And that made it very easy for the whalers to kill the whales. So the whales quickly not only learned, but communicated with each other in ways we do not understand. So that after a few years, the rate of whalers' harpoons fell by 58%, according to recently digitized logbooks.
Wow.
So it was the first network.
That they fished them out or something? They killed all the ones they could find?
Yeah, well, it wasn't just that they killed them all. But sure, it wasn't the first network. Trees talk to each other. Yeah, they've been doing that for millennia. Did you guys know that Amazon has a Stitch Fix?
What's a Stitch Fix?
Service?
Oh?
Huh?
What is that?
A personal shopping service? Sorry.
No, didn't know.
I just
Did you just find that out?
Advertised it to me, and I was like, yeah.
I had for a long time that thing that you take pictures of your outfits. Didn't I send that to you?
You sent it to me, and they killed it. They depreciated it.
Oh, man.
No longer can Jeff Bezos judge my fashion.
I assumed that was a precursor to Stitch Fix, to something that would help you. Like, why would they want to take all my pictures of my outfits if it wasn't to suggest something a little better?
Maybe it was to train it. Oh, God.
Oh, maybe.
We're trained on that.
Maybe it's not a stylist. Maybe it's what's left of that Amazon look.
Business Insider gave Amazon a good review for its custom T-shirts, where you take a picture of yourself.
Oh, and it measures you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that was our sponsor. Boy, they sent me. I'll wear it next Wednesday. That was our sponsor. Remember Taylor's Store? Do you remember them?
Taylor's Store.
And they had a app that you put on your phone. They started with shirts, and then they did chinos, and then they started doing jackets and suits. And so I ordered a suit from them, and I loved it. It came out great. And they sent me just a few months ago. They sent me a 3-piece suit. I'll wear it. You'll love it. Wait a minute, I wore it. I did wear it. Didn't I wear it a couple of weeks ago, or was that on a Sunday? That was on a Sunday.
That was a Sunday show.
You never dress up for us.
I'll dress up
dress
for you.
Up for the big show.
I will wear this suit. I'll even wear. Oh, it's a beautiful suit.
We're the kids' show.
But that's cool, right? That they take a picture. In this case, because it was an expensive suit, the first one I ordered, not that expensive, but it's fairly expensive merchandise, a few $100. They send you a canvas suit. You try it on, and then you take more pictures, and you say it's a little tight here. And then they sent me another one after the feedback, and that one fit perfectly. And I said, yes, ship it. And so, but now they have my measurements, so they sent me another suit. This is really cool. I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Can I play this Naughty by Nature video, or are we going to get in trouble?
We'll get in trouble.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's a legit song.
OPP?
Yeah, we'll get in trouble. You down with OPP?
I'm down with OPP. I don't want to know what it means. It is Aunt Pruitt's turn for a pick of the week. I love that number, by the way, Jeff.
My pick was cool. Is this morning we did Floss Weekly and had a pretty important person on there. You ever heard of Drupal? Yes, you have, because you're a twit.
If you're on our website, you're soaking in it.
So Mr.
Y'all use Drupal?
Yeah.
Bjarte was on the show.
They're cool.
Doc Searles and Catherine Druckman chatted with him.
She works at Acquia, which is actually, I think, the first hosting company we used for our website.
Acquia.
It's a Drupal hosting site that Dries founded. Yep. I will listen to this one. In fact, I will listen to this one. And the last week you did Tiddly Wiki, which is one of my favorite wikis.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are knocking it out of the park on Floss Weekly. Yeah, Stacy, so the Twit website's Drupal, Tech Guy Labs is Drupal. When I first started the podcast network, I needed a website, and I looked at all the content management systems, and at the time it was like Drupal 2 or 3. I picked it, and we've been using Drupal ever since. We have a very sophisticated Drupal setup. It's called Headless Drupal. Our API and our workflow are all run by Drupal in the background. So,
wow.
Yeah,
I remember before I realized that we were Giga almost funded by True, which had funded WordPress. I had suggested Drupal, and they were like, no.
We'll be using WordPress.
We couldn't do with WordPress. Yes. They were like, oh, we're a
Drupal's
WordPress
too
shop.
much
And I'm
for
like, All right.
We should explain Drupal is a content management system, kind of like WordPress. It's a way of creating a website. But as I said, we don't have a front end that's running in Drupal, only our back end. The front end is a Node.js website that gets the data from the Drupal API. There's a whole description of how that works on the website at twit.tv. It's really, really crazy sophisticated. We really love it. Did you have another pick too, I think, Ant? Yes?
Oh, yeah, my other pick, because you mentioned YouTube Shorts, and I was like, oh, yeah, I still have my short out there that I did on my channel, youtube.com/AntPruitt.
Oh.
Still haven't gotten around to shooting another one yet, but I want to do more content like this going forward on my channel. I'll still do some tutorials here and there, but I figured I want to do more stuff like this.
You shoot the short in vertical or no?
Oh, no.
No.
I think I shot this with my
5.5 minutes,
cam.
so it's kind of short. There's somebody sleeping.
But yeah.
Here comes a dog.
Wrote the script. All
Did
that
you?
good stuff.
So it's a movie. You made a little movie. Here comes a giant
But I want to
dog.
do more like that.
Cute. It's called
Biscuit
Find
and
It, a
Kylo.
short film. Oh, and I'm glad
check it out.
I'm glad you have video of Kylo. That's nice. Yeah.
Check it out. It's got a good message to it.
Shot.
I think this audience would appreciate it.
Very nice.
Good. We will.
Folks, make like a sperm whale and swim around in a circle, and we'll be back in a week. How about that? Just avoid the
Gotta keep the orcas away.
Keep the orcas away. I don't know. We do the. Oh, first, let's say hello to our panelists. Thank you so much for being here, Ant Pruitt, host of Hands On Photography, twit.tv/hop, and of course, youtube.com/Ant Pruitt, Pruitt.
That's right.
Great to have you on the show. Jeff
you,
Jarvis.
Thank you.
He's the director of the Townite Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. We sound like the Blob Opera when we do that. I think we got to. And of course, Stacy Higginbotham, we missed you. Stacy on IoT.com, at GigaStacy on the Twitter. Subscribe to her free newsletter. Check out the upcoming events. And then, of course, listen to the podcast she does with Kevin Toffel, the IoT podcast. Frank Sinatra once called him a bum, but now he's our bum. Thank you, Jeff.
I love that lower third.
I know. We do This Week in Google every Wednesday afternoon, 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern, 20:30 UTC. Live streams at twit.tv/live. There's audio and video there. You can watch and listen live, but you don't have to watch and listen live. We have on-demand versions of the website, twit.tv/twig. There's a YouTube channel dedicated to it. And, of course, you can always get a podcast application and subscribe. In fact, we'd love it if you did. That way, or follow, either way. That way you'll get it. If you subscribe, see, Apple's made it worse now. If you follow us, but we call it subscribe, but if you follow us, make sure you turn on the feature that automatically downloads, and then you'll get it automatically the minute it's available. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next time on Twig.
Hey, if you like tech news, but you also like hearing about it from the people who are actually writing the stories, well, I've got a show for you. It's called Tech News Weekly, and it's me, Jason Howell, along with my co-host, Micah Sargent. Every week, we invite the people making and breaking the biggest tech news stories from around the web onto this show to talk to us about it. It's a lot of fun. You should check it out. Tech News Weekly can be found at twit.tv/TNW every Thursday. We'll see you there.